Hello and welcome, people, to another episode of the Fabricio Dead podcast, the Fair One podcast. I am Fab, and I will be your host today. I'm interested in this card. There's actually one of the hello, Classy Nasty and Oliver Ekman. There's a couple of very interesting fights for me, and this card in particular. Give me 1 second. Of course, Dolidze versus Imavov is a really important one. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Imavov in this fight. If he gets past him, it'll be like a coming of age fight for Imavov. I do think it'll put him more or less up in that contention sort of. You start to talk about him maybe against. I don't know if, like I said before, I like to see the guys in the upper echelons of that division fighting the guys in the lower portion of that division, just to change things up a little bit. Like I don't want to see what happened at lightweight, for example, is the same 4 or 5 guys fighting over and over and over. In particular, for me, I am looking at this Khizriev versus Muradov fight. I think there's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Muradov came to the UFC with a lot of hype behind him, big name, a crazy big following. To me, though, he just seems to have a lot of power in his right hand, but he's not the full package. But Khizriev seems to me to be a very difficult person to deal with. I haven't seen him with enough guys to be able to tell you this is how he's going to look. But man, he looks to be the real deal as far as grappling is concerned. He's a kind of nuggety, hard-hitting guy at middleweight. So this is the fight I'm really interested in. The 2 fights that I'm interested in the most are the Imavov and the Khizriev fights. They're the 2 that I'm really looking at. Oliver Ekman says, Fab, the beard is coming in nicely. Not by choice, mate. Not by choice. Through says, hey, Fab, my man, how are you today? So that's how I see that. Now, Gilbert Urbina and Charles Radke, I can't say too much about either one as far as who I think is going to win. The girls, Arajo and Natalia Silva, can't really give too much on. Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikov. I've got Salikov winning that fight. I just think he's going to be a bit much for him. That's my opinion. He did lose against Nicholas Dalby and against Li Jing Liang. I'm talking about Muslim Salikov, but he's a very, very good fighter, very well-rounded fighter. And look, it's not that Randy Brown isn't. He's got some good wins, but I kind of lean towards Salikov in this fight. I think that'll be a good fight. Renato Moicano versus Drew Dober. Man, I can't pick that one, eh? I really can't pick that one. I think Dober is a bit tidier with his stand-up, and I think Dober's going to get the job done. I think Imavov's going to get the job done against Dolidze as well. I think Imavov's just going to be a little bit too crisp. He doesn't have the power necessarily, or he hasn't displayed the power to stop a guy like Dolidze coming forward necessarily. And Dolidze's got very heavy hands and really, really, really good grappling. Like really, really, really good grappling. If Imavov can, but he's a bit clunky. If Imavov can use his footwork and touch him with that jab of his, and just keep him keep the fight moving, I think he's gonna get the win. That's my take on it. Through her says, funny observation. I've started doing my physio out of an MMA gym, and before my appointment, I watch the sparring. My skinny, fat colleagues who look for drama on nights out will get tangled up by teenagers. For sure, dude. For sure. Like, if you get like a kid, not even MMA, if you get a kid that's serious, like about wrestling, say, a good high school wrestler, it's like 17 years old, 18 years old, would absolutely mangle a grown man like that. Like, and I'm not talking about a grown man that, is Mr. Football or something like that. I'm talking about a grown man that's it doesn't have combat experience per se. He'll get fucking mangled, man. Like he won't even be close. Imagine it's people don't understand it. It's like you going and playing basketball with the starting 5 of a high school team, and you're 40 years old or you're 35 or something. You're completely out of shape. You get mangled. And kids that are doing a combat sport, like a proper combat sport, like wrestling or judo or BJJ or boxing or kickboxing, or and they're 16, 17 and they're serious about it, would absolutely mangle like your average Joe kind of cat. Like, no, it wouldn't even be, it'd be crazy. What did you do to yourself, Thrillhouse? What injury did you get? I've been high on Imavov for a while now. I think he's got all the tools and the age to go the whole way. Actually, that's what I think with Imavov. I think he needed help, like as in like not help like he needed new coaches. I mean help like as in he needed to learn a little bit about tactics and about pacing himself and strategizing, and just getting used to like being at that top level. And I think the best things that have happened to him are some of the losses that he had against Phil Hawes, against Strickland. And Phil Hawes, although he actually lost to Dolidze, but although Phil Hawes has had a lot of losses, you know what I mean, and he has been smoked a few times, but don't underestimate that guy. Talent wise is phenomenal, and skill wise is absolutely phenomenal. He's a phenomenal fighter. Just hasn't got a chin, man. Just does not have a chin. And still, Imavov, at the time that he fought Hawes, he did really well against Hawes at that time. And he lost, but I think he learned a lot in that fight. And then he had the fight with Strickland, and he went 5 rounds with Strickland, and then he lost he lost the decision, but it was still close enough. You know, it was pretty good. I think it'll give him a lot of confidence for him to understand that he's right there. He can take the title. SG says, greetings, Fabs. Greetings to you, SG. Oh, I'm just watching these front kicks to the body. Oliver Aikman says, that's my favorite thing to do at practice. This guy who looks 40 comes in every once in a while, and I put a raping on him. He tries so hard for all for nothing. You're a horrible man. Through says, levator scapulae overload on the right shoulder, plus vestibular and servogenic dizziness issues from C2, C3. Shout out to Private Health. I just want to get back to non-contact boxing classes at this point. How did you do that? Or is it just from like a long time of just crap? Look at this. I have, if you can see, I had to put ice and wrap it in Glad Wrap while I do this, because of all ways to get really badly injured on my knee, I was walking a dog, not my dog, and the dog wasn't that socialized, man, and it touched a letterbox, and the letterbox rattled, and the dog just jumped straight into my knee, mate. Honestly, I thought about stir frying that thing. You know, I really thought about it. I thought about just stir frying it and eating it. SG says, Fab, how did you manage the nutrition and diet of professional fighters? Was that something you were involved with, or was it the fighters' initiative? No, I was there to give feedback on it and help with like the planning to eat and that. But I think one of the big things, and I was talking about this with someone the other day, a friend of mine who's a rugby coach. But a lot of the times you collect data over time with people, you know, and you monitor their training and you get to know your athletes. And so you start to understand what benefits them, what helps them. If they eat this, they feel better at that time, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a massive thing, because not everything works the same for everyone. Of course, rice, broccoli, leafy green vegetables, fresh fruit and vegetables, and lean meats. This is your diet, but it's a question of when are you going to eat these things? When are you going to have, well, like, how do you feel after you eat a certain meal? How long do you need for that meal to clear your stomach, to clear your digestive system, so you feel good, you feel energized? So these are more like things that I want to be in tune with when I'm dealing with an athlete. Cooper Marion says, shout out knees over toes, guys, for fixing my knee. Oliver Ekman says, was it that cute? Sorry, was it that cute fucker you showed last stream? No, sir, it was not. Joseph says, thought you were defrosting frozen peas, coach. I am, and they work a treat. Through her says, water park in Darwin. Neck hit the water, 2018 FML. Took years to work out what the issue was. MRI and neurological shit. I'm getting better now. just trust the process. That's insane, dude. That is insane. I'm scared of all that type of stuff, man. I don't do any stuff like that. SG says, man, getting the calories in is tough on a bulk. Well, it depends what you're training for, man. I really would have to see. Casper says, you want my recipe for fried dog? No. I actually know a dude that ate his dog. Like, the dog bit the mum. This story may or may not be true, all right? Just in case the RSPCA is listening. But the dog bit his mum and they ate it. True story. Beetlejuice says, the universe bless you, Fab. Always great to have you here for the fights. No, bless you, Beetlejuice, and thank you for being here. Cooper Marin says, Oliver, if it was Frankie, we might have to take the dog's side. He's too cute. It had to be Fab's fault. No, it wasn't Frankie. It wasn't Frankie. Beetlejuice says, caffeine makes me feel like I'm going to die, but I keep drinking it. I love caffeine, eh? I love coffee. I'm going to have some coffee in a second. Cooper Marion says, Fab, did you tear something or just tweaked it? I guess I missed that happening. I don't think I fully tore anything, but I have bad knees to begin with. And so whenever anything happens, everything gets worse. Like my femur and my tibia aren't aligned properly, like from like a genetic thing. And so whenever anything like that happens, my knees are just blown up like a balloon, you know? Oliver Ekman says, Fab, can you tell us some stories from your teenage years? I can't think of any right now, but that story that I told you about the dog, that is a true story, my friend. That is a true story. The guy I know ate his dog. This is not like in some farm or something. This happened here in Sydney. Joseph says, I remember when I was 6, I had a pet rooster. One day it disappeared. Next thing I see, my neighbor is having chicken for dinner. Yeah, I can see people doing that for sure. I'm thinking of getting chickens. I've got bees. I've got to work out how I'm going to do it all, because I can't just, have chickens and bees and everything all over. I live in kind of suburbia, really. So I can't just think. But I want to have chickens. I would really like to have chickens. And I want to extend my veggie patch as well. But yeah, I can see people just grabbing your chickens and eating them for sure. For sure. I drive past all the time. People have chickens here. And the chickens like walking around on the road and that. And I think about stealing one. SG says, we're still waiting on the beekeeping videos. I think I'm going to upload some stuff on my own Instagram on it's just Fabricio Day on Instagram. But I'm no like beekeeper, you know what I mean? But maybe I will. When we harvest the honey, I'll do a video of it and post it here on this one. Gilbert Urbina. Oliver Ekman says, I would 100% watch beekeeping and chicken tending videos. Joseph says, bee videos coming soon on Only Bees. Yeah, I might do something like that. No, I probably will. Oliver Ekman says, might have to re-download Insta for that. We're about to kick off, guys. Radke versus Urbina. If I have to gun to my head, I'm going to say Urbina. Nice leg kick by Urbina. We start 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51. They exchange. Radke just missing on a left hook. Oblique kick by Urbina. Radke goes looking for one home for the jab. Urbina with a front kick up the middle. Nice leg kick again by Urbina. Doesn't land with the same impact as the first one, but it definitely landed it. Front kick up the middle again by Urbina. Radke goes looking for a left hook again. Urbina lands a little jab. Inside leg kick by Radke. Another front kick by Urbina. Inside leg kick landed by Radke. Radke's pushing the pace in the middle of the octagon, but Urbina's doing a good job of keeping him off him and landing some shots to the body and to the legs. Radke looks like the more powerful puncher. Nice inside kick by Urbina. Getting in close does a good job skirting the outside of the fence, does Urbina, to stay out of the punching range of Radke. Radke with a nice left hook. Found a home for that left hook. Didn't land a flush, but it landed. You can tell he's got power. Nice little jab by Radke. Inside leg kick by Radke. Urbina goes looking for a low kick himself. Nice jab lands by Radke. Radke's trying to corral Urbina into staying still against the fence. Urbina goes looking for a double leg. Radke defends it. They hit the back of the octagon. Urbina goes looking for the takedown. Radke does a great job of defending it, has the underhook and scoots out of the way. Radke goes back to the center of the octagon. He's controlling the center of the octagon. 2 minutes and 49 seconds to go in this first round. Left hand to the body now. Urbina's fighting out of southpaw. Now he switches again. They're both going to orthodox. Oh, just missed on the right hand, did Urbina. Radke goes looking for a right hand. Whenever Radke lands on Urbina, though, he shakes him a bit. Like Urbina looks like the sniper of the two, and he kind of lands a little bit cleaner. But Radke, when he throws, he's got power behind his shots. You can tell he's got heavy hands, just the way that Urbina reacts to the shots, even that they're not fully landing. Both men fighting out of the orthodox stance with 1 minute and 46 seconds to go in the first round. Inside leg kick by Radke. Right hand by Urbina. Left hand lands by Radke. 1 minute, 24 seconds to go. Inside leg kick lands. I think it landed low. Casper says, Fab, I heard you're fighting UFC 300. And Ekman says, against Danny DeVito. Yes, sir. SG says, Alexa Grasso's corner stool, $412 for the distinguished men interested. Oh, is that on the collectibles thing? I just discovered the UFC collectibles website. That's fucking weird. Oliver Ekman says, small cage tonight. Yes, that will, in the main event, I think will help Dolidze. And in the next fight, I think it'll help Kizriev, the smaller cage. SG says they sell all the useless stuff there. Yeah, it's a weird thing, eh? They just sell that stuff. Where does that stuff go? Does it go to charity? Or does the UFC just keep that money? I'm just curious because the fighters obviously couldn't take that home, so I don't know, where does that go? SG says like the fight kits of fighters that left years ago. What's crazy is there's people out there that buy it. No, they can keep most of the stuff. But the UFC asks them for something. Like they always ask them for a glove or for a whatever. Nice little right hand by he lands a huge left hook. Urbina's in on a single leg, but Radke landed a huge left hook. Urbina's doing a good job of scrambling for that leg, but man, that was a big shot by Radke. 31 seconds to go in the first round. Radke landed there's our left hook again. Oh, Urbina's in a bad way, mate. 23 seconds to go. Radke's looking for a home for that left hook. It's got a lot of power. Urbina's not moving as much. There he is. He's down again. 13. He's down. He's out. I picked wrong. I picked Urbina. I thought Urbina was going to get it done. Wow. That was a big shot. A big left hand by Radke. Very powerful dude, man. Very, very powerful cat. Wow. I'm impressed, man. Good boxing. Seems to have good wrestling defense. Good Boom. Big left hand. Man, he got him right on the chin. Man, good job by Binav not going out with that shot. Like, that was a huge, huge shot. Boom. The second one he got him wasn't as flush. The first one he got him with was on the chin. It should have ended him there and then. But he more or less did. And he'd been looking for a home for that the whole time. Wow. I'm really looking forward to this coming fight now. That's about to kick off, the Kizria versus Muradov fight. I'll be back in 1 second, guys. I have to get myself a Vietnamese iced coffee from my house downstairs. Oh, my apologies, people. I underestimated how long it would take me to hobble downstairs and back up. Yeah, the best kind of coffee, man, by far. It's not even fucking close. Oliver Ekman, if he wouldn't have gotten hit, then he would have won. That's for sure. Hey, that one. If he did get hit at all, he would have won. Now, very, 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 very hard hitting dude. He landed. He found a home for that left hand. And I'm impressed by Urbina's chin because that first shot should have put him completely out. Adam Pipich says, has the fight night started? Yeah, man. Kizriev is about to fight now against Muradov. Muradov came in with a big rep, massive following. It's signed to Mayweather's production and all of that. But didn't really live up to it, I don't think. He's had a couple. He lost against Caio Borralho, which is not. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Borralho's a guy that can mix it up right at the top, I feel. Meerschaert is a solid guy, but he's I hate to use the term because I don't mean this in a derogatory fashion, but he is a gatekeeper. And I mean, that's a guy you give to pass a test, and he did not pass a test. And then there's Andrew Sanchez and Trevor Smith, who he beat, and Alex De Chirico. He beat all of those guys. Don't get me wrong. He's got power. He was a Uzbekistan junior national K1 kickboxing champion. So it's no joke. Like, he's got good stand-up. But it's not, he's not like an elusive striker with blah, blah, blah. He's not like that. He's more like, he can bang, you know what I mean? But no, he doesn't have the same level of, he doesn't have that, no, I don't think he's going to get past Kizriev. I think Kizriev is going to take him down and have his way with him. Oliver Ekman says, Fab, did you drink half of it on the way up? No, I didn't. If I drank that much iced coffee, like Vietnamese iced coffee like that, I'd be fucking dead, dude. I'd be like this. No way. SG says, Harry Hunsucker's signed jersey, only $100 for anyone interested. Yeah, no, I'm going to pass on that one. I'm going to pass. SG says, the UFC would save money just giving it back to the fighters, I believe. Oliver Ekman says, rest in peace, Carl Weathers. I always find it like, I'm a big fan of Carl Weathers. Let's start with that. He basically raised me with those Rocky films. But I find it like, then I remembered, it's owned by an entertainment company now. Because it's like just so random to have Apollo Creed's face up there saying, in loving memory of Apollo Creed, of Carl Weathers. It's not like, I don't know. I just find it random. It's a random thing to have up there. And then I remember, yes, of course, they're owned by a management company and entertainment company rather. So yeah, but it's just a funny thing. I'm really looking forward to this coming fight. I do not think Muradov's going to get it done. Brian Barberina's tough, but he's not like top middleweight. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm very, very interested to see, because I think that Kizriev, just from what I've seen of him, he's going to be a handful for most people. Probably not the top dogs. I see him as being a little bit kind of, doesn't have the all-round game for the top guys. But I think for anyone that's not that upper echelon, like the proper, I don't think it gets past like a Strickland, Whitaker, Adesanya, Dricus. I don't think it gets past the top end guys, but I think it gets past just about everyone else. I think just watching, having seen a little bit of him. But those questions are going to be answered today. I've been really wanting to see him against someone like this. Why is the break so long between fights? It says short break in progress. Please stay tuned. And I'm tuned, but there's no fights. Where are they? I don't understand why it's taking so long. And this is incredible. One second. Yeah, I didn't understand why that was taking so long. On my little boy's birthday today, turns 1. Incredible. Goes by so fast. I know it's that people say that. And it's cliched, but it does go fast, man. It does go fast. I can't believe he's already won. It's incredible. And he's tiny little fellow too. Imavov, they got footage. Imavov was walking in now into the arena. I like him, man. I'm a big fan of him. Imavov's been a big fan for a long time. Oliver Ekman says, thank God the women's fight isn't 5 rounds tonight. Dude, that was honestly, I'm willing to take bets on that one again if anyone wants to put up some cash. Kizria versus Muradov. Let's go, guys. I've been waiting for this fight. Yeah, he seems to me to look a little bit small for the division, you know, seeing that people are like getting fucking long, eh? Like they're getting really long in that division. Like you have big giants that have won that belt, like Pereira, Adesanya, obviously, even Strickland and Duplessis are kind of like long arms, big guys. Like they're just getting taller and taller and bigger in that division. So he just looks kind of like nuggety and short. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. But I'm a fan. SG says, big day soon. He'll be off to college and filing taxes. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Oh, Ekman, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And I'll be sure to let Archie know that he'll get a muffin or something with a candle on it, thanks to Oliver Ekman. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. You should have saved that and put it up as a bet, man, in the women's division, in the women's fight. SG says, looks like he's got a Gastelum build. Yeah, he does. He's like a Dagestani Gastelum. He's like a Daggy Gas, as I like to call him. Yeah, like, and it's not the best build at that weight, man. When guys are super tall in that division and long and big and strong. Oliver Aikman says, I'll never bet on a women's fight. No, man, I'm telling you, that's the best bet. The best bet is the lighter the women's division you can find and bet on the fight to go the distance. If you can do that, the odds are shit, but that's your best bet. Yes. Like, I don't know. I think that limits you. Like, that kind of build will limit you how far you're going to go. And I think, like I said, in particular in that division, Muradov here in Wiki is listed at 6'2", which is a reasonably big guy. Like in that division, it's a pretty big guy. So it's going to be interesting to see how. I'm actually interested to see how he deals with how Kizriev deals with like a kind of lankier striker and that. But Muradov doesn't have the best takedown defense. He doesn't have the best takedown defense. And Kizriev, he can wrestle, man. He can fucking wrestle. I'll give him that. I saw him against Palhares as well. The thing with that fight against Palhares, one, Palhares has passed it. But two, there was a massive amount of fence grabbing by Kizriev. So it'd be interesting to see how he fares, when you're not allowed to grab the fence. People don't understand this as well. Like a fence grab, for a split second even, can change the whole outcome of a fight. You fight a guy like Palhares and he gets you early when you're dry and his full strength gets you in a heel hook. And you just need that little bit of extra leverage to pull your leg out, and you do it and it gets your leg out of there. That changes the way the fight goes, because then next time you get in there, you might be more slippery. He might be a little bit more fatigued. But if you hadn't grabbed the fence and kept your balance and been able to pull your leg out, Palhares would probably rip your leg off, so it does matter. But I'm interested. I'm very, very interested. I haven't seen enough of him against guys at the top level, SG says, thoughts on a glass wall instead of a fence, like a squash court. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know with like a perspex or something like this. I'm not like an engineer or anything. So it's 5'9" versus 6'2". Yeah, so 5'9", you're a little fellow. I'll give you that. That's for sure. You're very short in that division. Let's say that the UFC measured him wrong and he really is 5'10", still even 5'11" is not, it's not short by normal people's standards. But, you're looking at a lot of guys in the UFC in that division are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", you know what I mean? And that starts to, these are big guys, man. These are big dudes. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it'd break or not, you know what I mean? There isn't any give. The fence has its own, like the cage now has its own, like weaponry system, so to speak. Thank you for the charger. My beautiful wife gives me my charger. The fence itself, like it's got give. You're able to use it against the opposition's knuckles. Like there's a lot of things you can do with the fence. So it just becomes a kind of different fight, I suppose. I don't know, because then you get blood on it and it would smear all over the fence. Like if you had a cut, like that fence, that glass fence would just be, and there's blood always in the octagon, it'd just be blood everywhere. We're off, guys. We're off. Round one, Kizriev in the southpaw stance. Muradov goes looking for a right kick to the body. Kizriev's trying to, I think he poked him in the eye, trying to close the distance. There was either a head clash or he poked him in the eye. I hope this fight doesn't end with this. Yeah, Kizriev. Oh, Kizriev fucking poked him a beauty. Oh, my God. That was a fucking brutal eye poke, man. And they started off so good too. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on the glass wall instead of a fence. Like I think it'd get real messy real quick. There'd just be blood like smeared all over that wall real quick. And then you wouldn't actually get to see as much of the fight as you think you would, you know what I mean? In theory, I think it probably looks and sounds better, but in practice, I think it'd just be blood smeared all over that wall, and it become really slippery as well. Like you'd hit, your back would hit and you'd just fucking slide because the sweat and the blood would just Darren Wynn fought at middleweight at 5'7", and that's my point. Like he's a tiny guy, but he's very thick and solid. And he was a Pan American, either gold medalist or at least a medalist at the Pan American Games in wrestling, and he did not fight anywhere near what you'd think he'd be able to fight to. He's just too short. I Oliver Ekman says, I just want to see racially motivated Drew Dober. SG says, glass wall plus hydrophobic coating. I'm not sure, again, how hydrophobic coating works, but I'd imagine you'd still have like beads of blood everywhere and shit. Like I don't think you'd see clearly. And if things are going to slide off, I think it'd be hard. People would hit their back onto the cage, onto that clear plastic, and kind of slide. That's what I think would probably happen. I don't think this guy's going to continue, eh? He's not going to continue. That eye poke was fucking brutal, though. I was so badly looking forward to this fight. I was looking forward to this fight so much. He is very short. I will say that. He's very, very short. Oliver Ekman says, you know who would have continued? Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito wouldn't have cared, and he would have been even shorter. But he'd probably be fighting at light heavyweight. Ah, man, that eye poke was nasty, dude. But you can't continue like that. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Yeah, fuck, you can't even open his eye. And the thing is, people don't understand. Like you can't see. Maybe you can see half an hour later, but your vision is all blurred. You know, he's so compromised. Joseph says, knuckle deep, coach. That was brutal. SG says, man, it looked like he scooped some flesh out with that finger. Yeah, that was horrendous. Oliver Ekman says, who would have... Yep. Joseph says, where is Mario Yamasaki when you need him? Yeah, he would have just run in and cracked him himself. Yeah, man, that was... I was looking forward to this fight. How could they do this to me? How could they do this to me? But Kizriev is so short, dude. Look at him compared to this dude who's 6'2", and he looks like he'd be like Alex's son or something, Pereira's son. SG says, I don't understand fighters who fight fingers forward. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if in that, I agree. Like John Jones purposefully does that. Like he's got such long reach and he does that. But I don't know that was that scenario exactly, because sometimes you do this, you end up doing that. It's a reflex action to do it. The gloves being more concave would help a lot with the eye pokes, I think. Like this has been said to death, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, SG. Like John Jones does that. He actually does that. But in this scenario, like they kind of just like their hands are thrown and he went like that, you know what I mean? And it is a reflex action at the same time, you know, like it's not that natural. Like if I'm going to push away from a situation or parry something, I'm not always going to have my hands closed like this, you know. That's not real to expect that the fighters can do that. Like even when you're parrying and you're moving, your hands are open, so it's not that difficult to imagine that if you got gloves that kind of hold your hands open like this, that people aren't going to run into it, you know what I mean? So I do think something probably can be done about the gloves, because that when shit like that happens, it's fucking brutal for Fab, who was really looking forward to the fight. Wow. That was shit. And Muradov looked good too. Like it just looked like he was moving well. Like, yeah. Natalia Silva versus Araujo. Araujo. I can't. I just want to get into it, but I can't. I'm not going to lie to you. Number 9 in the UFC is Natalia Silva. She fights out of the flyweight division. This will probably go to a decision, guys. and she's number 9. And the other one is Vivian Arujo, and she's number 7 in the women's flyweight. This is going to go to a decision, man. This fight's going to go to a decision, guys. I can't see it. I can't see it being different. This is going to go to a decision. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oliver Ekman says, I hope this fight ends just as fast. SG says, this should be a good fight. SG says, both brawlers. Oliver Ekman says, it's time for a different video, please, Fab. I love that. I love that. I think it's SG feels so optimistic about this fight being a great fight because they're both brawlers. I just don't share it with you, man. I just don't share that with you. I don't think it's going to be a great fight. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong. Just a second. I want to believe, you know. This is with a lot of things, you know. I want to believe, but I just don't see it happening, man. I don't like Vivian versus Natalia. Yeah. I don't know. I want to get hyped for it, guys. I really do. I want to get pumped up for it, but it's fucking hard. It is hard. It is. I can't see it happening, man. I can't see it being a good fight. So if you need to. Okay. Cooper Marion says, Fab, I'll go $5. If Natalia gets a finish, I'll send it. All right. I'll take that bet. What do I have to take the bet with, though? Because I have to. Is there an announcement that I have to make? Is there something I can do to make this exciting, guys? I got $5 from Cooper Marion that says that Natalia Silva gets a finish. Let me just check 100% to see if this is in fact a bet I can take. We want a decision. I want a decision. Oliver Ekman says, I love it when ESPN plays the same ad 200 times in a night. It's probably one of the most exciting things about this fight. Cooper Marion says, I think she's pretty good technically, a little undersized, but she seems very coordinated and skilled for that weight class. I'll bet 5 on a decision. You can't bet 5 on it. What, are you betting him or you're betting me? Because I can't bet you both. You know what I mean? Well, I'd be like offsetting my bets. But I'm happy to bet Cooper Marion that this fight will go to a decision. And if it goes to a decision, I get $5. If she wins by anything, any choke, it's got to be like a submission. What am I betting? Like, what am I giving you? Natalia Silva looks coordinated and everything, but she does look small, which I think is going to make it hard for her to submit the other girl. So Amelia says, Fab, do you still do BJJ? Yeah, I have a little school. I have a little school near where I live. It's mainly for beginners and like kids and families and stuff like that. But yeah, I still have a couple of good guys, you know, that compete in that. But mainly, it's focused at like just fundamentals, beginners, and like adults and that, like people with jobs, careers, and whatnot. That's my focus. So I have a gym, yeah, where I live on the south coast of New South Wales. Oliver Ekman says, Cooper Marion, Fab, make Fab sing the He-Man song in Spanish. Make that the bet. Not for $5, man. It's got to be more than that. But yeah, let's go. $5. Tell me what you want. Cooper Marion says, if it's anything else, you have to give a public apology on here to the women's flyweight division and let them know you actually like them and always put on absolute bangers. I'll do that. So let's be clear, right? If Silva wins, right? But it's not by submission, you win. But if it goes to decision or the other girl wins, I win. That's clear? Yep. All right, we're off, guys. We've got some money on the line here. Vivian in the yellow trunks versus Silver in the white. Silver is a skilled and technical exponent of the martial arts. Vivian moving in and out, feinting with punches, kicks, elbows, throws a check hook. Silver coiled, ready to spring like a panther. This is an exciting match, ladies and gentlemen. These two women are moving forward. So far, it's really good. They're throwing punches about 3-4 feet short, but still, it's good. It's a good fight. Their technique is brilliant. They are missing by a fair bit, but still. Nice little left kick by Silver. If Silver wins by a submission, ladies and gentlemen, I will give a soliloquy. If not, I'll get $5. That's Texan dollars. That's old school oil money. Oh, Vivian with a big right hand. Silver could eat this shot. Nice leg kick lands by Vivian. Vivian she goes, gets a body lock on Silver. Silver's got the whizzer. Head control by Vivian. Horrendously huge knuckle punches being thrown by Silver. Silver looks like she's going to get taken down. She's doing a good job of holding herself up with her hand, but eventually Vivian gets her down. Vivian controlling the back from the standing position. Silver doing a fantastic job of fighting the hands, knees to the legs by Vivian. What a fight, ladies and gentlemen, we have on our hands. This is absolutely brutal. Wrist ride by Vivian. She's looking for the wrist ride. Silver's being pinned against the cage. Fantastic work by Vivian. Nice. She's looking to get one hook in. She's looking for a broomstick sweep. Very nice work. Is she going to get the other hook in? Is she going to get the other hook in, ladies and gentlemen? Is Vivian Arroyo going to get the other hook in? Buzz Silver does a fantastic job of defending that hook, but she gets the other hook in, does Vivian. Vivian is looking once again for that broomstick sweep. It's a fantastic technique, actually, all jokes aside, guys, when you have these types of positions, is the broomstick sweep. This is a tremendously exciting fight that's occurring here. It's actually a very good technical battle, I'm not going to lie. Silva was looking for a Kimura in defense to the legs. But this, I think that Vivian is the bigger girl here, like physically bigger than Silva. And this fight could play out like this for 3 rounds. I'm pretty sure it will. I don't see Silva having the power necessarily to keep Vivian off her. And I see Vivian doing this for the rest of the fight. And I think that's what makes these fights exciting, is the exchange of techniques, the presence of death with how hard these women hit. These are the things that make women's MMA exciting. These girls are not unskilled, though. I will say this. They're not unskilled. It's just they're tiny, tiny girls. And they don't have that cracking power necessarily to finish the fights. But these two aren't the worst of it, not even by a fucking long shot. These girls are not bad. And Vivian is actually using good tactics here. It's actually smart because she's able to bully Silva into the cage and knee her legs and hold her there and look for the takedown. And if she gets a Silva goes looking for nice little inside trips, but an Uchimata into an inside trip, but doesn't get it. 46 seconds to go in this absolute slobber knocker of a fight. Harry DeLuca says, how would you do a broomstick sweep, or are there other types of takedowns from here? Harry, mate, you haven't been a fucking training in almost a week, right? The thing you need to do is go to training, and I'll show you how to do the broomstick sweep. But basically, you would lean into that knee, that with your hips, and you kind of take them over you. using that hook. Oh, Silva lands a spinning back kick in the last 12 seconds. She throws another one, but gets wobbled by a right hand from Vivian. Then a left high kick from Silva. Both girls swinging for the fences with 4 seconds to go. Vivian is in deep on a single leg. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the wrap for the first round. Best fight of the night by far. Cooper Marion says, I got given these dollars by a cowboy in exchange for a sarsaparilla, so you know it's real. Mate, we're on, mate. That was pretty full on, those last 30 seconds. Yeah, so you kind of lean, you push your hips into their knee, and you got the hook on the far leg, Harry, and then you kind of go backwards. Oliver Ekman, indeed, that is a question. Cooper Marion says you can sit to crab ride like Pantoja does if you're good with scrambling and back control. Yeah, crab ride, I'm a big fan of that. I didn't grow up doing like folk style on that, but I'm a big fan of the crab ride and like a lot of the mat returns and back escapes that folk style has. SG says, told you guys it would be a good fight. It's fucking edge of your seat excitement, man. It's edge of your seat excitement. Silva flashes a smile. Ladies and gentlemen, the hand speed of Silva, she was like a young Roy Jones Jr. We're about to kick off. Vivian cuts into the center of the octagon, controlling the center of the octagon. Feinting with a jab is Silva. Round 2, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. Ladies and gentlemen, the feints from Silva. Silva's calling her on. She throws a jab, almost a check hook answered by Vivian. They're calling each other on. They're going to meet in the center of the octagon. This is going to be an absolute war, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, left high kick by Silva. Nice work, Silva. Both women gesturing to the center of the octagon, calling each other on. Nice jab by Silva. Doesn't land. Throws a nice high kick, does Silva. Oh, nice, ladies, landing big shots. She gets dropped. Vivian gets dropped. Great work by Silva. Lands a huge shot on Vivian. Hurts her. Silva could end this. Silva could finish this. Vivian's hurt. She eats a jab. Oh, jab again by Silva. And Vivian throws nothing but air. She gets air. The movement of Silva hitting that jab. Reminiscent of a young Roy Jones Jr. Ooh, nice kick, but it was kicked to the close side. Then a head kick by Silva. Silva's finding her range here in this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, they exchange jabs, but Silva's just too quick. Oh, front kick by Silva. She's going to run away with this round unless Vivian can do something here. What a fight, ladies and gentlemen. What a fight. Both women absolutely... Oh, big left hand lands by Silva. It has to be by submission, right, Cooper, that she wins? Still making her skirt around the periphery of the octagon is Vivian. Oh, nice leg kick by Vivian. Silva goes looking for a left high kick. Speed kills with that jab that she throws. Oh, the counter. Vivian's in deep on a body lock. Is she in deep enough to get this takedown? She has the head control with 1 minute and 47 seconds to go. Will she be able to effect some sort of a good offense from here? Who knows? Who knows? She's got the control up against the cage. No, Cooper, a bet's a bet, my brother. A bet's a bet. What a fight, ladies and gentlemen. She's in deep on this takedown. She's getting her hips in. Is she going to be able to lift her? Is she going to be able to lift her and get her away from the cage? Is she going to be able to do this? Brilliant defense by Silva. She's got the balance of a spirit level, does Silva. Vivian's doing everything she can to take her down. She's showing a vast array of different takedowns. She looks like a Buvesa Saitiev instructional. There's nothing she can do. There's nothing she can do to take Silva down. Silva's defending everything that she's being thrown at her. What a fight, ladies and gentlemen. All I'm seeing from here is Vivian throw a takedown at her, and Silva's just defends it with different techniques. And now the jab and the spinning kick. What a masterclass of striking by young Silva. Another front kick. Vivian's doing a good job of staying away from the speed. Oh, lands a left hook of her own. 7 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. Time, right hand by Vivian, right on the bell. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a fight. I believe it's a round apiece. SG says this is peak entertainment. SG says Aroto ate a spinning back kick to the chin. She did. Cooper Marin says Marcelo has a lot of good takedown sweeps from that position. That's where I first saw someone use a crab ride like that. I said finish, but being real, I'm probably sending this money either way. It was worth the entertainment. SG says, how can Arujo win this fight? Well, I think it's a round apiece, man. So she could win if she wins this round. Cooper Marin says, I expected basically head kick to ground and pound or sub from Silva. Amelia says, balance of a spirit level. I love it. And that's what she has, mate. That's what she has. Cooper Marin says, Silva's looking like Frank Chamizo out here defending takedowns. Heath Perry says, how come in 20 seconds ahead? How does that happen? I don't know, man. I don't know. You must have entered a porthole. A black hole, mate. That's maybe what you did, Heath Perry. And they're off. Silva is out in the middle of this. There she goes looking for the left high kick. Does Silva. 4 minutes and 49 seconds to go. This is the deciding round, ladies and gentlemen. I have this around the piece. Left high kick by Silva. Vivian's doing a good job of keeping her right hand at home. Goes looking for an oblique. Oh, left hand by Silva. A thunderous left hand that shook the whole stadium. Silva skirting the peripheries of the octagon, looking for a jab, looking for a home for a jab. Oh, speed kills. Silva's hand speed is incredible. Vivian's looking to drop her level and close the distance for a takedown. She needs this takedown. Left rip to the body and a side kick to the body by Silva. Silva's doing a fantastic job. 4 minutes to go. Nice jab lands by Silva. This is an incredibly taxing way of fighting, by the way, for Silva. Constantly on a bike, moving around the peripheries of the octagon while Vivian is stalking her. Her counters are very fast. She's got good counters, man. They're not unskilled, these two. These are not the worst women's fight I've seen. Not even close. Nice counters by Silva. Silva's got really good hand speed and she's skilled. Nice little jab lands by Vivian. Vivian needs to change levels and look for a takedown. There it is. Well done, Vivian. But again, the Frank Chamizo-like takedown defense of Silva. And Vivian's takedowns, array of takedowns like a young Buvesa Saitiev. What are we looking at here, ladies and gentlemen? We're looking at an instructional of how to and how not to do. And what to do when it happens. Look at this. She's in deep is Vivian. Silva's doing a great job of mitigating any of Vivian's attacks. She's controlling the wrists. Vivian is in deep on an underhook. She's holding Silva up against the cage. She's the bigger of the two. She's able to bully her up against the cage. She's got double underhooks. The ref is calling for action. She drops down for a double leg. Silva may be looking for a guillotine here. In deep on this single leg is Vivian. Oh, and Silva does a fantastic job of getting out of there. Throws a little jab, almost lands. Oh, nice jab and then a kick to the body by Silva. Oh, right hand by Silva. 1 minute, 53 seconds to go. Nice jab by Silva. Inside leg kick by Silva. The volume's coming from Silva, but a left hand lands by Vivian. Oh, nice little right hand to the body by Vivian. The future is now, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing the epitome of the evolution of MMA here, ladies and gentlemen. Nice little right hand by Vivian. Not by Vivian, by Silva, beg your pardon. Silva eats a huge jab from Vivian. Vivian continuing to come forward. Coming forward like a young Arturo Gatti, taking punishment and throwing back. This is very, very similar to the wars that I've seen with Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward. Very, very similar type of fight. Both people standing in the pocket, just laying into each other. Controlled, beautiful violence. Oh, big counter by Silva. Silva lands a jab at the end of it with 46 seconds to go. Silva's landing, moving like a young Pernell Whitaker. Her movement is outstanding. Throws a left high kick. Nice. Nice right hand by Silva. Putting on a masterclass with a spinning back kick. What a fight, ladies and gentlemen. 21 seconds to go. Right hand lands by Silva. 15 seconds to go. Just stay on your feet. Stay on your feet, Vivian. Stay on your feet. We're about to make $5 Texan dollars here, Vivian. We're going to make this together, Vivian. Well done, Vivian. Survive this fight. 2-1. Time and gets the takedown right at the end. And this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is $5 Texan dollars richer. Let's see. Oliver Aikman said, Heath Perry says, who do you think wins main event? I think Imavov is underrated. I really rate him. I think he's at least a future top 3. Yeah, no, I'm a big Imavov fan. The one thing I see with against Dolidze is Dolidze does have a really good chin and he hits hard and he's a very, very good grappler. I don't think he has the movement of an Imavov. I think Imavov is the better striker of the two by far. But is he going to be able to keep Dolidze off him? I'm not sure. My pick is Imavov, and I do think he has the potential to go all the way in this division. Just depends who's there at the time. Joseph says, down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Araujo versus Silva 2 main event, UFC 300. Make it happen. Book it. Book it now. Amelia says, how long do you think until we start seeing large amounts of MMA fighters coming out of China and India like we do Brazil and the USA? I think we could see him. I think we could see him, but I don't know, like necessarily culturally, if that's where people want to go from those particular countries. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know if that's what they want to do, but as far as a population growth and martial arts background, like the Indians have been always good at like boxing, wrestling, and judo, always. And China, of course, martial arts are very, very good as well. So I don't know if you're going to start seeing them in mass versus like I guess what I'm trying to say is like, say for example, I know in China, like ping pong, table tennis is massive. And there's a whole government infrastructure behind you being a really good table tennis player, and you can make a great living, if you're a very good table tennis player. And it's a lot easier on your body than MMA. So I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know, like in countries where like say basketball, football, or something like that is the like there's a whole bunch of people that aren't the right build for basketball and NFL. That this is great for. This fills that niche. I don't know enough culturally about that. I don't know if China or India, like young kids, want to be in the UFC. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. As far as like the countries themselves, like and having the athletes there, they're there. I don't know if people want to do it like that. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, and I also think like there's a lot of people living in poverty, in particular in India as well. So I don't know. Because I haven't really seen heaps and heaps of boxers come out of India, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. But I think like as far as like martial arts there, it's really high level. Like I know the wrestling in India in particular is very high level. Like the boxing is high level. And so like at the Commonwealth Games and that, they are like usually they win it. You know what I mean? The golds and that. The Canadians do as well. Like the South Africans are up there, but the Indians are like in those combat sports fucking very, very dominant. So it could easily be, you know what I mean? I do think so. In particular, I think like there's like Indians living in Canada, in Australia, and places like that, where it would be easier and cheaper to set up a base with high level guys, probably in India against high level wrestlers and good level boxers and whatnot. I don't know. I think if they wanted to do it, it could happen quick. SG says MMA is big in India, but in smaller states. A lot of the MMA fighters out of India from the Himalayan states and don't get a lot of media attention. There you go. I like I said, I don't know enough about it. If that's what they want to do, though, yeah, they'll be a powerhouse. Dolidze says, Heath Perry says, Dolidze's nickname should be dollars and cents. Cooper Marion says, Silva is actually a pretty cool fighter and no cool finish, but I'm a man of my word. I appreciate that, Cooper Marion. And I will say this. I was actually impressed by Silva. Not like there isn't the one shot knockout power that you would have in men's, but those girls weren't unskilled, and in particular Silva, she did really well. Like I will give that soliloquy. I'm bigger. I actually was impressed by her. Oliver Ekman says he's a man of his word. Oliver Ekman says, my God, take the mic away from her, please. I don't know. I couldn't hear what she said. SG says folk style wrestling is big in India as well. When you say folk style, do you mean like their cultural wrestling that they do? Yeah, because the cultural wrestling, like in the mud pit and like sports like kabaddi and that are huge in India. So is that what you mean by their folk style wrestling? Yeah, because the combat sports are huge over there. Like it's huge. I've been to India, actually. I've been there when I was coaching with the national team for Olympic freestyle wrestling. And yeah, the combat sports are fucking huge in India. They're no joke. Cooper Marion says, you ever watch any martial arts YouTubers? Fab watched Sensei Seth's video on Sanda the other day, and I feel like those dudes are going to be part of a future wave if they start transitioning. Yeah, but you'd think like, I don't disagree, right? I don't disagree with that. The Chinese are very, very good with that. But you would think like countries like Iran, for example, you would see much more Iranians. You know what I mean? And for the level of, I don't know, you'd think there'd be more Bulgarians, more Belarusians, more, even more Russians. But I think that in a lot of those countries, like you do wrestling for wrestling, people do wrestling because they want to wrestle. They don't necessarily, and for a way out as well, but it's wrestling. Like they don't do like, whereas say, for example, in Australia, the wrestling level is much lower. The judo level is much lower. But a lot of the times the people that are doing wrestling and judo in Australia have in the back of their head, oh, I'm going to do MMA. So you'll get guys that they're not doing wrestling for wrestling. They're doing it for BJJ or for whatever, you know what I mean? Whereas in Iran, like kids want to be a gold medalist wrestler. That's what they want to do. And I think they'd want to do that more than they'd want to be MMA champion. And I think it's the same thing, like say with the judoka in Japan, like kids get into judo to be judoka, to be gold medal judoka, you know. A lot of kids that do folk style wrestling in the US, they don't even, some of these kids don't even think about going to the Olympics. The big thing for them is to be an all-American wrestler out of fucking Penn State or Ohio or wherever, but they're doing wrestling for wrestling. So a lot of these guys aren't doing it for, you know, anything else. So that's I think one of the big things. Yep, cultural wrestling in India, like Palwan wrestling. Yeah, man. I think that's the big thing. That like countries like Georgia, man. Georgia's fucking insane with their wrestling. Armenia, like there's so many good countries out there. Eastern Europe, Caucasus, all that region. Like that's serious high level wrestling. But most of those guys are doing wrestling for wrestling. You know, countries like Turkey, right? Like have their oil wrestling, and there's dudes that don't even want to be freestyle champions. They want to be Turkish oil wrestling champions. I ended up in Antalya in Turkey, and I went there for my own sake, but I went there to visit some people and to see some guys who were wrestling and that. But I ended up seeing these guys, and they did oil wrestling. They trained full time. They got paid. They were on a wages to be oil wrestling champions. And if you were a champion, you make good money and you're a champion. And these guys didn't want to do freestyle. They didn't train freestyle wrestling. They trained freestyle when they were younger, but now they train oil wrestling to be oil wrestling champions. And if you're a champion in that, you do really well. Senegal is another one. Senegal is that they have that like it's wrestling, but you're allowed to punch. And you have that guy, oh, what's his name? It'll come to me. He just beat Bushesha recently. And you'd think there'd be more Senegalese jumping over. But those guys, when they start their sport, they want to be a champion in that sport, not necessarily in the UFC. And they make good money for where they live as well. Cooper Marion says, Silver reminds me of like a women's Max Holloway, kind of lower level for sure, but once she gets a rhythm, the volume and strike choice is really sick. Yeah, no, she's not without skill. That's for sure. SG says Kabaddi as well. It's basically 1 versus 5 wrestling. Yeah, for sure. Kabaddi's full on, man. Like I don't think this, but people say, for example, we'd come home because we'd go wrestle, Commonwealth Games, like Commonwealth countries and that. And India was always like a tough one. And the interaction with a lot of like Australian people with Indian people is like the dude works at the 7-Eleven or something, and people would go, oh, you lost to look, whatever, or a cab driver. And these are not my stereotypes, by the way. I'm just saying this. And like, man, the Indian dudes are fucking heavy duty, man, heavy duty wrestlers. And when you're in India, it's like, it's a heavy duty country too. You know what I mean? It's no joke. Like it's a full on different world out there, and the combat sports their level is so high, and they have such a depth of people to choose from. So they also have such the guy, I think it was SG, was saying a lot of the fighters are from like the Himalayan side. And what happens with that as well is people don't understand, like India is so broad and so vast. They have such a mix of people as well. Same as China. Like people, you probably only see one type of Chinese, but like my wife's Chinese Russian, and the mix that they have, like from different areas of China, is incredible. So yeah, if the level of fighters and the mix of people and the amount of people they have to choose from is huge. SG says, Tapuria with a crisp beard, Volk might cut his hands punching that beard. Cooper Marion says, the video was actually about American Sanda practitioners and the World Championships. There seems to be a ton of countries that are really interested, not just China. Sanda's a cool sport, man. Oliver Aikman says, I feel like Volk versus Tapuria is going to be like Woodley versus Till, but a much worse beating. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be an interesting fight. My heart's with Volkanovski. Hanoi Tripper says gold medal is a massive thing in some countries, kind of like how it used to be for swimming in Oz. Yeah, like 100%, dude. Like, but even nowadays, like, still, like, I don't know of too many other countries, honestly, that that the swimming nationals might be televised and people watch it, or when there's a Commonwealth Games that people are going to watch the swimming. You know what I mean? Like, or the Olympics. Like, people don't really do that in a lot of countries. Even myself, like, if the finals are on and it might be like 100 meters, 50 meters, or 400 meters, I probably won't sit through the whole 1500, but definitely, like, if the finals were on, I'd watch that for sure. 50, 100, whatever. And my kids will swim. My kids are going to do squad at least 1, 2, 3 years. They'll do for sure, because I want them to be able to swim, but like, it's just the sport. Like, they're not just going to learn to swim. They'll do squad. It's not in a lot of countries that you'll do that, like that actual do squad. Amelia says Khabib and Islam mentioned in some interview that once they become champs, everyone in Dagestan transitioned from wanting to win the Olympic gold medal for wrestling to becoming an MMA champion. Yeah, I'm sure that, I don't know if everyone, but I'm sure that there'd be a lot. Also, you got to understand, with MMA, it's like you could be, I don't know, 50th ranked Dagestani wrestler, right? National ranking. And that's not going to ever get you to an Olympic gold medal. You're not even going to come fucking close. But you could still go into MMA and you'll out wrestle fucking a lot of people. You know what I mean? So that's a big difference. You know what I mean? That's a big difference. So it's not necessarily the top guys even that are going to switch over. Like, the guys from Russia that will win an Olympic gold medal, I don't see them switching over to MMA. And that's a different level. Like, guys that like beat Jordan Burroughs beats him. Like, this level's fucking high. Like, a guy like Bo Nickel, this people don't understand. To be under 23 world champion, the level of wrestling for, I'm not saying Bo Nickel's going to be he could well be the UFC champion. I'm not saying he won't be. But as far as his wrestling and grappling level, to be under 23 world champion, to beat some of those guys that he beat, you do not understand that level, man. You do not understand that level. And it's very rare to see those guys jump over to MMA. Very, very rare to see someone of that level, like, to jump over. People are going to say, no, what about this guy, that guy? You're talking about the top guys, and they become champions. That's why you know who they are. Like, you don't see guys from Russia, like, that are gold medalists in wrestling flipping over. You just don't. You don't see it as much. You know, same as a judoka from Japan. You don't see those guys, like, one or two here and there, Satoshi Ishii, someone like this, but you don't see, like, guys win the Olympic gold medal in judo or wrestling and switch to MMA. You just don't see it in those numbers, because in those countries, not only like the guys they might not even like to fight. Do you know what I mean? They might not like to fight. They didn't get into it to fight. They really good at wrestling or at judo. It's a different thing. Same as a lot of the BJJ guys. They don't necessarily get into it to be fighters. Leighton J says, Fab, you got to remember the original MMA judoka from Armenia, Karo the Heat Parisian. I don't know if he's the original, man, because there was some good guys. You know who was good, man, who could have been in UFC 1 at the time was Gokor Chavichian, who was Karo Parisian's coach. Cooper Marion Rug, that's it, is an insane heavyweight. That's the guy. SG says, Fab, whereabouts did you go in India? Mumbai and Pune. Cooper Marion says, I interact with more Indian and Mexican people than I do white people at work. Strange that Australia doesn't have that population. Now, Australia's got a huge Indian population, a huge, huge Indian population. But they just, when you say that, when people go, who'd you wrestle? And you say, oh, look, you know, the Indians pumped us. And people go, oh, the Indians, you lost to an Indian. Because I don't know why. I don't know why the fuck you'd say that. I don't think like that. But people say that, and I just think you got no fucking idea, mate. These guys will rip your fucking arms off. SG says most of the wrestlers in India are from Punjab, and these guys are built like tanks. Yeah, In fairness, a lot of them were Punjabs, but there were a lot of guys like from the southern states as well. Don't ask me to say the names. I know if I hear the state, I will say it, but I can't remember. But there were guys like from the south as well, you know. But yeah, the Punjabs are big dudes, man, like big heavyweights in that. Hanoi Tripper says, an Indian guy came to my uni and he had a wrestling background. All the other international students from India basically worshipped this guy on campus for his wrestling exploits back home. Yeah, it's a big deal, dude. It's a big deal over there. Again, like, I think if you won like a gold medal at the Olympics for India, I'm not saying you'd be bigger than if you're world champion in wrestling, but you'd be pretty fucking big. Like, I don't know that you'd want to or have to go to MMA. Do you get what I mean? Like, you'd be set. You'd be set for life, and you don't have to get punched in the head. And more than likely, you would be passionate and love wrestling for the sake of wrestling. And the amount of effort it would take for you to win a gold medal in that's you'd be pretty big deal. Handsome Devil says, huge crowds watch oil wrestling, so it is profitable for wrestlers and organizations. When guys get bloody in MMA and they grapple, it is kind of like oil wrestling. Yeah, a little bit. Hanoi Tripper says, Bo Nickel said he'd beat Khabib in a pure wrestling match. He's probably right, though. It wouldn't even be close, dude. It would not even be fucking close. I would bet, I don't know, I'd bet good money on that. It wouldn't even be fucking close. You got to understand, like, Khabib wouldn't make the national team for wrestling. Not even fucking close to making the Russian national team for wrestling. I'm not shitting on Khabib. Khabib's a fantastic fighter, but he would not make the national team in Olympic freestyle wrestling. Bo Nickel beat the under-23 Russian champion for the national title and then for the international under-23's world's title. And that guy from Russia ended up doing great things as a senior. So you got to understand the level. It wouldn't even be close. I'd be surprised if Khabib scored on Bo Nickel. I'd be surprised if he did. We're off, guys. 54, 53, 52, 51. Now, in a fight, it's completely different. The fight's completely different, even at 185. Don't forget as well, Bo Nickel's a lot bigger than Khabib, man. A lot. There's like 2 weight classes separating them, if not more, because Bo Nickel won like the US Open and all of that at 92 kilos, not even at 84. So you got to understand that. Bo Nickel's a big fucking guy. And Khabib's a big guy, but he's a big guy for a lightweight. Okay. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Both men in the orthodox stance. Randy Brown showing off and enjoying a big range advantage, but Salikov is landing big leg kicks to Randy Brown. Another nice calf kick lands by Salikov. Nice jab to the body by Salikov. Goes looking for an overhand right, does Salikov. Randy trying to find his range with that jab. Man, he's so long, eh? Nice little jab by Randy Brown, but a rip to the body by Salikov in answer. I think Salikov's going to land an overhand right here, if you want to know my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Unless Randy times a knee or something in one of these next exchanges, because I think that's what he's going to set up, young Salikov. There's a little left hook by Salikov. There's another calf kick by Salikov. Man, Randy Brown is so long, dude. Nice jab by Randy Brown. Nice front kick. I don't know why Randy Brown doesn't throw these front kicks more, man. It looks like he almost like standing on the other side of the octagon. Nice calf kick by Salikov. Randy Brown is looking for a right hand, swing and a miss. I think he poked him in the eye. He did. Cooper Marion says, it's so strange that Bo Nickel is a measuring stick when I just know him as a random dude from my hometown who happened to get really good. Yeah, but don't forget, Cooper, everyone was some guy from a town. You know what I mean? From a random town. So, it's funny because I know dudes like that as well that like people worship, and I'm just like, I know that guy. You know what I mean? Da 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 da. But nah, he's achieved though. He's achieved, and you can't. People don't really understand what that kind of level is. You know what I mean? And Cooper Marion says he's only probably 20 pounds of lean muscle heavier. Yeah, like and lean muscle, like 20 pounds of lean muscle is a lot. It's a lot. If it probably more, man. Probably more. And 20 pounds of lean muscle is already like a lot. At a level where both guys are really good. Nice high kick by Randy Brown. And at that particular skill, Bo Nickel's a lot better, man. He's a lot better. Oh, spinning back kick by Salikov. A little bit of showboating by Randy Brown. Again, with the spinning back kick goes Salikov. I like Salikov throwing these calf kicks, though. Oh, shit! Randy Brown. Ref, stop the fight, dude. The guy looked like he got shot from the bleachers with a shotgun or a sniper rifle. Man, that right hand that he landed was on the button, knocked him out, sparked him completely. Wow. Hanoi Tripper says when India played Pakistan at the MCG, it was sparked with dudes from both countries who live in Oz. Yes. SG says Australia and India have a heated rivalry in cricket. Yes. Heath Perry says, why do you think you see more champions from the Anzac region, which has less than 33 million people, but China only has one champion and is over 1 billion? What do you think? I think financially, it's a big thing. Like MMA is not necessarily that cheap to do, and Australia is heavily influenced by the US. And I think a lot of like Australians like to fight as well, so do New Zealanders. And I think that's a big thing. And really, the biggest influence there is like that Tasman region, like Auckland, Sydney, Melbourne. That kind of triangle is where there's always been good fighters come out of there, though, traditionally. Always had really good boxers come out of here. Always had good kickboxers come out of that region. So it's not like necessarily a new thing. And we've always practiced kind of like the same sports as the US, if you will, to a certain degree. So I think that is a big thing. And like I said, like it's not that these countries like China and that don't have, like China's got a lot better judo than us, a lot better wrestling than us, a lot like probably better amateur boxing too. I don't know, amateur boxing probably be about the same. But in general, they have very good combat sports, but they're just like behind us in as far as following the US to MMA. So I think that's a big one. SG says Southern states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka. You know what? A couple of the guys were not from those states. Adam Yusuf says, what's up, Fab? Hope you're doing well. How are you, Adam? How you doing, my friend? Thank you. Cooper Marion says, will Salikov throw the jab this time or just keep feigning it all fight? Well, he's out now. SG says, Randy is all legs. Cooper Marion says, my friends have drank with Bo in high school. Just hilarious at my little town. Not really known for much good. Brought him out. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you just people you grew up with and that end up, playing first grade football or in the UFC or whatever. Okay. SG says apparently there is a $10,000 fine for jumping out of the octagon. Well, there you go. Hanoi Tripper says if MMA was Oz main sport instead of NRL, AFL, soccer, and cricket, we'd have a few more champs. Yeah, but the one thing I will say, I agree, yes, but one thing I will say is fighting's different to those sports. Like you might be athletically gifted to fight, but you might not want to fight because getting punched in the face is not the same. Like you might be a really fast runner and go, fuck, I don't really like doing athletics, but I can run 100 in under 10, so I may as well get myself a scholarship out of this. It's very hard to do that with fighting, dude. It's very hard to do that. Like if you don't like fighting, really like fighting, it's hard. That's why you even like with boxing and like MMA or whatever, it's very hard to just to fight once you don't need to fight, even if you like fighting. Man, what a right hand landed right on the chin. Cooper Marin says they always talk about that, but I feel like it's literally never enforced. I think there was even supposed to be a fine for sitting on the cage, but I don't remember if anyone actually got one. Amelia says, Fab, since you've got a lot of experience in TAFE and education in general, can you usually tell who will go far based on attitude? It's hard, dude. Like, it's hard. What does go far mean? Like, you have to tell me, like, how far is a piece of string? Like, because like talent will get you fucking far, irrespective of what anyone says. Of course, people talk in extremes. They go, what if you're talented but you don't train? Then you're not going to go fucking far. But I'm saying, like, I've seen too many guys like that will, like, say, for example, be successful in a given sport just based on talent. They might train, but their ability to train at what you would think is a 10 out of 10 for you might only be a 6 out of 10 for them. So the problem is, when you say, will they get far? The problem is, once that all dies down, we don't really see them. There's not really those longitudinal studies like that. Oh, there might be longitudinal studies out there for that, but like, you don't know how people are when they're 50. You don't know. You don't, like, most of the athletes, most of these people, you don't know what they're doing when they're 50, because then it requires a different amount of effort for them. You know what I mean? So as far as how far do people get, I think you get far longitudinally with a better attitude, with a good attitude. But like, initially, even people with shit attitudes, if they're talented or they work hard or they're greedy or they're ambitious, will do well, man. That's unfortunately the truth of the matter. I've seen that too many times. Like, I've seen people. I was just talking about some shit with my wife today about some people, and it's you see people do abhorrent things, you know what I mean, and they, on the surface, look like they get far. But ultimately, I think you don't, you know what I mean? One thing I will say, and I'm not even like a Jordan Peterson fan or anything, like, not a Jordan Peterson fan. I'm just not like, oh, listen to everything he says, nothing like that. I don't agree with everything he says. But one thing he said, like, struck me. I just heard it. I think it came up on my feed or something. And he said something along the lines of, like, nothing. He's never ever seen anyone ever get away with anything. It always, like, just comes back and it shows itself and manifests itself in some way. And that is probably the closest thing to the truth, in as far as your question there is, like, how far, like, yeah, you might finish your degree, you might start a business, you might be killing it in your business and doing well financially. If you mean go far, you could have a shit attitude, you could be lazy, you could drink, you could do coke, you could do whatever, you could think, but like, ultimately, the chickens come home to roost. You know what I mean? Ultimately, at some point, they do. So that's one thing I've noticed with that. You see people, but these behaviors are not things that you can. I'm not even giving them a moral judgment. They're just not things. Like, if I enjoy coke and hookers, then this is not going to, like, point towards me having a happy marriage if that's what I want to do. So yeah, attitude matters a lot longitudinally. SG says, yeah, DDP talked about how they warned him about the fine but gave it back to him as a bonus. All right. Cooper Marion says, Dober or Moicano. I feel like Moicano is going to look great winning this fight until he gets smoked, like most Drew Dober fights against people who aren't immortal. I have to say, I agree with you, my friend. I have to say, I agree with you. King Carrot says, John Jones has entered the chat. Yeah, you know what the thing is? We often stop looking at people beyond a superficial level as well, and we don't really look at people. What Mo L says, I love you. You know that? As a tío, though. Oh, as an uncle. Right back at you, my brother. Yeah, no, I think we stop looking at people beyond a superficial level. So you look at someone and be like, oh, they own 3 companies and they got this and that, and they got 3 kids and a dog and their wife and blah, blah, blah. But you don't fucking know what goes on in that person's life. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on with them. You really don't. And getting older as well now, like me getting older and just going through life myself and everything, you just start to understand, like, yeah, this is fucking true. You know what I mean? And you don't get away with shit. You just fucking don't. Like, the chickens do come home to roost no matter what you think. And we don't really look, when you're watching athletes and that, you don't even look at athletes past 40. You don't look at how they are. You don't look at how they like how they're dealing with life afterwards. It's very fucking rare, you know what I mean? And how that affects their mental health and all that shit. And man, a lot of these guys, like, a lot of people's behaviors, honestly, if they're not in a particular position in life, no one would even listen to them. It's like if a girl is a horrible person when she's in her early 20s, but she's very, very good looking, very attractive, she'll get away with a lot of behaviors that just would be abhorrent otherwise. But then when you start to lose your looks and the rest of it and you have nothing else, you don't know what happens to that person in their 40s. You know what I mean? Adam Yusuf, or even the 50s and 60s. Adam Yusuf says, I'm doing well, sir. Thanks for asking. What are your thoughts on young retirement and careers? Again, define young retirement and define careers. Do you mean like stopping early in fighting or what? So just if you could elaborate on that, that would be great, because then I can give a more specific answer. Just my opinion anyways, but yeah. Let me know what you mean by that. I think there are like absolute truths though that you have to understand, and you have to understand what you're getting into. And a lot of the times you don't have that because you don't have that perspective when you're young. You know what I mean? You don't really understand stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't really understand until very recently, until I've had kids. You know what I mean? And then I look at stuff very, very differently. And of course, some of that is my change of perspective and my change of perception as well. You know, like the way I see things now and where I'm seeing them from is two different things. One of the big ones is, you know, when people say like, you owe it all to your parents, you know, your parents did this and your parents did that, and how much they sacrificed for you. Like, this is a big thing for me. Of course, I'm grateful to my parents and that's a different thing. But having kids myself, I realized it's like, nah, dude, I had the kids. They are my responsibility. I have to do the right thing by them. They don't owe me shit, dude. I decided to have them. It's like, I got a dog. I have to look after that dog. I was the one that decided to do it, you know, like I owe them, not the other way around, you know. That's a real big thing, man. And when I have that and I hear people say, it changes my perspective on a lot of things. It really did. That's probably one of the biggest things. SG says, they say life begins after you have kids. I don't know if life begins after you have kids, because I'm not one of those people that's going to say, oh, you have to have kids to. I don't believe that either. But I do think that it does give you a different perspective. Of course it does, you know, like you see your life through their eyes and you see, Cooper, I don't think you have to have kids to think. I don't. I just think that when you do, different things become apparent to you that they probably didn't before. That's all. I don't think you have to have kids or anything like that. MLHBO says, any advice on how you analyze fights technically? For me, honestly, I look at it longitudinally. Like, I like to watch fights from like a lot of fights on a particular fighter, because I think if you go back and you watch when we did the fight commentary thing for the Sambo fights, you'll see that you still can see the guys' movement patterns are still very similar. Like, you're basically still that person. You still see, like, the techniques might be better. You might do better things, but your movement patterns, you could watch Ikram Maliskarov fight in his Sambo fights, and you can still tell it's him. You can watch Khabib fight at 19 and you can still tell it's him. And so then you start to understand their movement patterns. And so you can watch them get better technically in that, but you start to really understand intrinsically why people are doing what they're doing. So I think that helps you to analyze a fight technically. Adam Yusuf says, sir, I meant like in terms of many fields and fighting, like what ifs, such as people with lots of potential who just called it quits. One of the things I learned about coaching, man, and teaching at college and whatnot, and then having kids, it's helped me to have kids because I understood that someone's talent is fucking theirs and it's their gift, and they're free to do with that with whatever they want. And so unfortunately, sometimes you have to stand by and watch people that have a shit ton of talent, just throw it away, or make the wrong decisions or whatever. So I think you have to do stuff because you want to do it and you love doing it, not necessarily for the results thereof. Because one of the things, like I'll be the first one. I'm, as far as like jiu-jitsu, grappling, and all that shit goes, like as far as really good guys or even good guys, I'm shit, dude. I'm a black belt and all of that, and I can roll around with people. Don't get me wrong, but I'm nothing special, in sport. But I've made a very, very good living in sport. Obviously, I have other skills, like I have other attributes and skills that I've helped to marry them together and use sport as a conduit for the stuff that I do. But what I'm trying to say to you is, because I love it and because I do it, I've gone really further than guys that are much more talented than me. But I always kind of do what I feel intrinsically motivated to do, and I think that's important, because a lot of the times people are just good at it and they don't understand the bigger picture. Like, if you really love basketball, for example, but you're never going to play in the NBL or in the NBA or in Europe, you're never going to play in any of those leagues. You're just good at it. You're just good. You may be the best player in your high school, the best player in your state. You could, but you could still be a fantastic coach if you really love it and you study it. So I think sometimes people leave before the miracle happens, But fighting, where you're getting hit in the head and that, I don't think you can ever quit too early. I think whenever you quit, whenever that thing came into your head that goes, oh, fuck it, I'm done. Not like things didn't go well and you think, oh, I'll quit. Not like that. But when that thing comes to you and you go, I should stop, stop for something where you're getting like smashed in your head. Yeah, it's not worth it. And people don't understand that. Like, they'll go, yeah, but how else is he going to pay for his mortgage and that? Again, that's a really short-sighted, that's a really like right now solution, because when this guy's 55 and he can't remember shit, he can't remember stuff, like he has inability to fucking make it to the toilet, nobody's going to give a fuck, so you've got bigger problems than just paying off your mortgage. SG says, did you feel like your personal dreams, goals got dampened when you had kids? That's a really good, interesting question, SG. No, I didn't, because my wife and I always made sure that we kind of achieved what we wanted to achieve, like before we had the kids. You know what I mean? Like that, it was never a thing where you can't say that to your kids, man. You can't be like, oh, and still I do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, my wife still does what she wants to do, because I think the worst thing you can teach your kids is, oh, I'm going to find an excuse to show you why I didn't make it, and that excuse is you. No, that's not right. You know what I mean? So maybe if I have to downsize, say for example, I wanted to open up another gym, of course I'm going to make sure that I can provide my kids with stability, financial stability. Maybe I downsize my house and they still have that, but I'm still going to try. I'm not going to compromise that and tell my kids it was their fault. And I think the biggest thing, like, I got daughters, 2 daughters and a son, and I think the biggest thing I can teach my kids, we can teach our kids nowadays, especially in an age of AI and the ability to answer anything with your fingertips, Google, and that, is resilience, is ability to pivot and change and make different decisions, to be tough, to understand you're going to, like, life's going to hit you really hard. Sometimes you can't even fucking see where it's going to come from, and you think things are doing well, and you can't prepare for just getting blindsided out of nowhere, deaths in families, diagnosis for sick for you or a relative or somebody else, mental health breakdowns, anything could happen, and you have to be resilient and you have to be tough and you have to keep going forward. Teaching your kids that, I think, is fucking what you need to do, versus just, I don't know, send them to maths tutoring and do rote learning. I don't think that helps. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I think the other thing is more important. And one of the best things for that, I think, are any like mano a mano sports, judo, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, anything like that. Individual sports are really good for gymnastics, swimming, where it's just you and you got to be tough and you got to be resilient and there's no one else to rely on. I think that's some of the really good things. King Carrot says, how do you see the Dober fight? How do you see Dober winning this fight? If Dober wins, I think it's going to be like Cooper Marion says. Renato Moicano is going to look amazing, and then he's going to get cracked. Moel says, what's the best and worst job you ever had? Probably the best jobs. It's always kind of like the best job is now. I'm running my own little gym. I do some work, educational kind of consultant type work, and I've got a lot of freedom and free time. Of course, when I have to go to work, I'm at work, but I can work around it. And so at the moment, it's probably the best job I've had. Just consulting to educational companies and running my own little gym. I think that they're the two best things, And then my wife's got a dog minding business. So we get to mind the dogs and go for nice walks and that with the whole family, and the kids get to learn. We get to do a lot of the stuff together. This is a big thing for me. Is like they get to come to the gym. My kids come to the gym. They see that mom and dad work, and they see that we run our own business, and they get to integrate and mingle with other children and adults in a safe and productive environment. And then they get to do that with the dogs as well. And we walk dogs and be out in nature because we live near the water and live near national parks and hiking trails. So we get to do all of that together. So that's probably the best jobs I've had. The worst jobs I ever had. Fuck, dude, I've had some really shit jobs. I used to clean toilets all through Cabramatta. If anyone knows Cabramatta, it was during the height of the heroin epidemic. So heroin needles everywhere. I used to clean all the telephone booths, and we used to have to work from midnight till 10 a.m. all over Southwest Sydney. That was shit. And it was work from 1 a.m. till 10 a.m. And I had another job where when I was like 17, 18, I used to work in an abattoir and used to have to kill chickens. That was a shit job. Again, 1 a.m. till 10 a.m. Another shit job was I used to clean drains out in like Cabramatta Creek and stuff like that. I used to clean all the drains there. But I've got a massive phobia of rats. And I told the guy I was working with, the day we see a rat, because usually they scurry, so I never actually saw him. But I saw this water rat. It was fucking dead, but it was fucking huge thing. I get like phobias right now, and I quit that job. And it was fucking massive, dude. I've never seen a thing like that. We're about to start. Okay, we're off. Drew Dober standing in the southpaw stance. Moicano. Oh, they exchange straight away. Right hook over the top, lands by Drew Dober. Man, he hit him good, that exchange. And Moicano, like, someone hits you like that. That's the thing. Like, Moicano came in heavy, man. He came in ready to go, and Dober got him with that right hook, and it's changed. Yeah, there it is again. He landed it again. You can see that it's changed how Moicano is coming forward now. In fact, he's not coming forward. That isn't to say Moicano can't win, but nice inside kick by Moicano. But that right hook that landed by Dober has landed twice now. And at the start, it just stopped Moicano coming forward. There's the exchange again. Moicano's looking for that right hand. Man, I think Dober's going to catch him, eh? I like Moicano, eh? I like him, but I don't. Oh, the left hand wobbles him. He lands it again. Moicano goes looking for a takedown, doesn't get it. Moicano goes looking for the takedown again. Smart. Good work, Moicano. Good work. Moicano gets it. Well done, Moicano. He needed that takedown. Now he's got good positions here. He's got a deep underhook, and he's got, see how he's going like over him, like not perpendicular, but kind of almost perpendicular. And he's got his knees together. This is a very good position. He's pinning him here. He's not trying to pass. He's not trying to do anything. He's trying to pin Dober to the ground. One, this exhausts Dober. And two, this is a good position for him, allows him to clear his head. That underhook that he's got is great for him on the far side. And he's pinning Dober down. This is what he needs to do. Nice. There's a head control by Moicano. So he's got head control. He's got the underhook on the far side. And again, he's staying in that half guard, which is basically a Turk ride, which is a pin in wrestling. So he's using it as a pin. He's not using it to pass. He's not trying to pass. He's pinning him. One thing I will say is I get anxiety when people come to the gym, and new people come to the gym. I get fucking anxiety bad. I don't know what it is. Fucking, I want people to come to the gym, and I'm nice and everything, but I've just had, when you just had bad experiences with people, like sometimes, like not even that many in my life. I haven't actually had them. I'm a bit of an empath, man. So that type of shit hits me hard, man. I always wonder who this person's going to be that's going to turn up. 99 times out of 100, people are sweethearts. But every now and then you get one and you just fucking... Nice. Doba kicks him off. Moicano comes back over the top. Moicano's doing a great job here. I'm really impressed with Moicano having the wherewithal as well. He's not trying to pass. He's not trying to give up positions. He's just trying to hold Doba down. Now he's landing some good ground and pound. Doba's doing his best to get his feet on the hips and kick him off. See here, there's a minute and 30 seconds to go. Moicano's now he's starting to try and pass. But even then, not massively. He's more than anything, he's pinning him. He's using that far underhook and that shoulder pressure. I don't understand with Drew Dober. I don't, because Drew Dober's not unskilled and he's not without talent. I don't understand why his jiu-jitsu stays at this level. I really don't. And I say this with all the greatest of respect because I'm a big fan of Drew Dober, but this is how he generally loses fights. And I don't understand why it's always kind of the same level of grappling. I don't get it. Moicano's doing a great job of just pinning him down. 45 seconds to go. Oh, nice head slam by Moicano. Moicano's landing a little bit of ground and pound. Again, it's not super sexy, but that pinning of your opponent is very, very important, man. Very, very important. A lot of times people are like, pass. It's like, man, you need to slow this guy down. You need to exhaust him. You need to make him tired. Good head control by Moicano. Nice time. SG says, to rephrase that question, did the young man's fire die down a little post-children? Yeah, it died down before I had kids even. One thing that I can't do now that I've got kids, I can't just before I would have the jobs that I have now and the work that I have now, and I'd have 2 or 3 other projects going. Even with the podcast, I can't do the podcast the way I would like to do it, just because of the kids, but not all because of the kids like that. Just there's only so many hours in the day. And so I can't just fucking grab and bump. But I'm smarter with what I do and how I do it, thanks to the kids. They make your time, your efficiency much better, SG says, something interesting my psych professor told me a while ago is that your children become your legacy. I think so. And you really see what you want left, you know what I mean, on this planet when you have kids, and how you treat them and all of that. Heath Perry says, what do you think about the shit talk in the UFC? I think a lot of it has gone too far, especially Colby. I think if you're going to light a fire, don't complain about getting burnt. I think the UFC pushes that agenda. Let's not kid ourselves. And I think, it wasn't just Colby. I mean, McGregor threw a fucking trolley through a window. I was there in Brooklyn when that happened, by the way. You know what I mean? If that's allowed, I don't fucking know. I can't think of any organization. Imagine you're playing for the Baltimore Ravens and you went mad and you threw a trolley through the window of the fucking New England Patriots. You know what I mean? On the eve of them playing, you're not even playing them. You're there to watch them play some other fucking team, and you throw a trolley through the window of the bus. People fucking faces get cut that have nothing to do with you. I don't know how long you'd be banned for, but it would be a long, long time. Yeah, Dober's absolutely getting handled here by Moicano. There's 3 minutes and 55 seconds to go. Moicano's doing a fantastic job, a really, really good job. And he's got Dober down again. Dober's not going to get up from here. Adam Yusuf says, Thank you very much, sir. All these valuable lessons and knowledge you showcase is extremely helpful. Thank you very much, mate. I don't know about the lessons and knowledge. I'm just giving you my opinion on stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Like the UFC pushes that agenda, dude. You know, and then they when they want to do something, it's cool. When they don't want to, it's not. Like when Paul Daly got kicked out of the UFC forever for throwing a punch at Koscheck after the bell, which I think is fair. But then, you know, all that other shit happens with these other guys. So King Carrot says, let's go, Drew. And Hanoi Tripper says, Dober is getting handled. He's absolutely getting handled, man. Moicano is completely all over him. He's smashing his legs like a smash pass. Now he's gone back to the other side. And then what he's doing, he's going to the offside. Do you know what I mean? So he's passing to his own right. Moicano's passing to his right. And it's a very smart thing to do when you, especially in MMA, especially when you know a guy isn't as experienced in jiu-jitsu as you, because it's very hard to defend your offside, especially if you're not used to doing it a lot. You know, like Dober's not going to get up from that position. It's going to be very, very difficult. 2 minutes and 22 seconds from this position. It's not to say he won't go to a different position, get out. Okay. But he's absolutely getting handled. And this takes the power away from his power punches, which is his bread and butter, really, you know. Moicano's doing a great job. And I like Moicano's decision-making here, where he's not just trying to get the takedown. He's not just trying to pass. He's pinning him down, working him over, cooking him. 1 minute and 35 seconds. That half guard, when you know how to use it properly and you know how to pin people there from that position, it's awful. It's awful. Drew Dober's doing a good job of at least continuing to move, but now Moicano's taken his back. At least Drew Dober put his back on the floor. Now is he going to be able to get up? He does. He manages to get up. Emilio says Moicano's using that shoulder pressure very well. Yes, he is. Oh, nice little rip lands by Dober. Dober hits a lateral drop on Moicano. Now Dober on top of Moicano's 57 seconds to go. It's a long time. 50 seconds is a long time to be on top like this if you can do some damage. I think he may have cut Moicano, or is he the one that's cut? I can't tell. $37 seconds to go. Lands a nice left hand. Now Moicano is not. This is a problem here. Moicano's kind of closed the guard. He's not really moving his hips, and he's with a closed guard like this from this position where he's just holding Drew Dober down. It's a big problem, man, because he's not really trying to get up. Now he's throwing some up kicks. Dober's landing some big shots. 14 seconds to go. 10 seconds to go. Moicano's using a lot of energy to just hold Drew Dober here. Dober's trying to separate him frame. 2 seconds to go. 1 second time. That takes a lot of energy, man. And Moicano is busted up. See, again, I'm not judging this fight, right? I'm not judging the fight. I have Moicano winning it. But right now, I don't know how you judge this fight. I don't know how the judges are going to judge the fight. Because damage is number one, right? And Moicano had all the control. But now some of these shots that landed, I don't know if it was a head clash or what it was, but something ripped him open, right? And now he lateral drops him. Nice lateral drop. Moicano must be fading pretty bad as well. And that did not look good for him in the third. And he's eaten shots to the body as well. He ate some shots to the body. So I don't know how you judge that second round. I'd probably give that to Dober because he's the one that did the most damage. The first round goes to Moicano as well. But even in the first round, Doba landed some big shots on him as well. And you don't know how that affects him now, late towards the end of this round, towards the end of the fight. You know, once you've been hit like that and certain things have happened in the fight. Because there's only so many shots you're going to take. And this is what I say a lot of the times. Shots were landed early in that fight by Doba, you know, that you don't know how they've affected Moicano going down the stretch. Doba throws a high kick, lands a left hand. He's starting to land the shots on Moicano now. He just has to touch him. He has to land them. He just has to touch him, not try and knock him out. Especially with that fucking gaping wound over the top of Moicano's. Oh, left high kick partially lands by Doba. Moicano goes looking for a takedown. Can't do it. Left hand by Doba. Moicano jabs. Doba goes looking for a jab of his own. Fighting southpaw to orthodox respectively. Doba in the southpaw. Inside leg kick by Doba. Oh, right hand lands by Doba. Oh, left hand lands by Doba. Body lock by Moicano. The world's slowest fucking lateral drop by Doba. When somebody goes to lateral drop you, right, if you can step over, so say I'm lateral dropping someone to my left, if they take a big step with their right, it's basically they can either hold me up or lateral drop me. That's one of the counters to the lateral drop, and that's basically what Moicano did. Doba needs to get to his feet because it's his fight to lose. I think the third round is up for grabs because I do think he did enough damage in that second round to give him the round, you know? Because one thing is great to pin someone and control them, but you really need to fucking like damage as well because you don't know. Like 30 seconds of damage is a long time. Doba needs to get up though. Moicano's landing some little hammer fists. He's got a closed guard. He's controlling the posture, but he really needs to throw some elbows from the bottom, get Moicano to posture up to get out of the way of the elbows, put his feet on the hips and get up. Needs to throw elbows. There, put your feet on the hips, kick him off, kick him off. This half guard is a good thing, is a good place to be. Because you can't think and Doba doesn't have the frames and Moicano is up high. Moicano can stay here for a long time. Moicano's looking for a mount. I think this quarter mount, 3/4 mount is probably better than full mount in a lot of ways. And so I think this is a good position for Moicano. There's 1 minute and 44 seconds to go. Doba can't just hold on to Moicano, man. He has to try and get up because Moicano can stay busy like what he's doing. The ref's not going to stand him up. The ref's not going to stand him up like this. No fucking way in the world. Doba has to get up, and it's very hard to get up. He has to throw elbows from the bottom to get Moicano to lift his head, and then he can put the feet on the hips and kick him away. You can't just stay there like this. Nice work. Keep going, Doba. Keep going. Well done, Moicano. See, Moicano doesn't want the pass. He was very smart with what he's doing. He's basically getting the Turk right and staying there. And he's going to do that. He's going to hold him down. Great work. Great work by Moicano. Good shoulder pressure. Nice work. I mean, it's not terribly exciting, but he's doing a great job. Just very smart the way he's doing it. Going body, head, pinning him down. Drew Dober's got no real answers for it. Nice work. Very, very good work. Harry DeLuca says it's common for fighters to purposely go in a half guard on top. Haven't seen that much before. You know, when we've been doing a training and I was saying to you, like, you want to pin them first. That's what they're doing. So it's a Turk ride. It's actually quite common, man. But now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. You'll see it a lot. It's a pin in wrestling. It's a pin in grappling, not just in wrestling, in any kind of grappling. So it's very good. Like it's called a Turk ride, and you catch the leg, and it's what half guard is known as, and you pin them. You just pin them down. You don't want the guy to get up. You just have to make sure that they can't put their shields in. Because once they start putting their shields in or they can invert, they're very good grapplers. This is a different story. You're no longer pinning them. But in these scenarios like this, yeah, it's very, very common to have the guys in the half guard so you can pin them. Yeah, very, very common. I'll be back, guys. I have to fill up my water. I'll go viral if I did. And I'll put up the pictures. Cooper Marion says Rob had Kelvin pinned like that a lot of their fights since Kelvin is so good at turtling and getting up from side control. Yeah, it's very, very, very common position, man. Very, very common. Anyone that's wrestled knows this pin, like Oliver Ekman says, Fab, do you coach gi and no gi at the gym? Primarily no gi. We do gi still. We still do gi. The guy gave me my black belt is a gi, like it's a gi guy. But by far, I'm a better no gi person than gi. Oliver Ekman says, best post-fight interview. What did he talk about? I don't know because I didn't get to watch it. Or hear it, rather. I had to hobble downstairs to get water. Yeah, but by far, we still do gi. We still do gi in that, but by far, it's no gi. Now, I'm a fan of Imavov. I like Dolidze as well. He's a baker. He owns a bakery business. And see, he'll probably do well later in life. You know what I mean? He'll probably do well. And even like he may not be a success story, but he might end up in a nice bakery with his own place, blah, 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 happily in Georgia, and you never hear from him again. Doesn't mean he's not doing really well. Leighton J says, I probably missed it, but Dolidze or Imavov, Fab. I think Imavov's got a little bit better movement and he'll sit on behind that jab. If he fights like that, if he fights moving around, throwing that jab and just keeping Dolidze at the end of it, I think he's going to win. If he gets into slugfest, Dolidze's got heavy hands, heavier than Imavov, but nowhere near as crisp and as tidy a striker. And on the ground, man, Dolidze is a big problem. He's a big fucking problem for anyone. He's not stupid. Imavov's not stupid. And I think he's gained a lot of experience in the losses that he's had to understand how he has to push fights and in what direction he has to push them. So I think he's going to land those jabs. It's going to hurt Dolidze with the jabs. Dolidze's got a good chin and he throws big bombs and he tries to grapple you. But I think Imavov's going to get the better of it. It'll look like the Vettori fight, but Imavov's much faster than Vettori. Oliver Ekman says, killing bad guys for the SWAT team and getting his wife pregnant. All right. Adam Yusuf says, Sir Fab, mate, I'm not Sir by any stretch of the imagination. You teach loads of gems. Thank you. I'm still a young buck, so listening to OGs like yourself who've experienced lots of life, preaching is a blessing. All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to preach. If you ask me something about what I've done or something that I've seen, I'm going to try and tell you. Cooper Marion says, shit, I honestly dislike Dolidze for how he fights before this, but hearing he's a fellow baker, I've got to go for him now. Yeah, man, he's got his own bakery shop and stuff in Georgia, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that's where his money goes and that. So I like him as well. He seems like he's like a genuine dude, you know, and he doesn't overdo the bullshit with either going too much like one way or the other, you know, he seems to be more confident in himself as himself. And so I like him a lot, but I'm a fan of Imavov, you know. I do think Imavov can get it done, and I think in the future will probably be a champion. You know what I mean? I think, or if he's not a champion, he's going to come close. That's what I think. He'll be top 3, 4, 5 for sure. If he wins this fight, it probably will be top 5. And the thing is with that as well, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I do think that's a fight to make because, like, I see like Brendan Allen fight Vettori, for example. This is good. Rather than have Vettori fight up the card, I don't see why you'd have him fight up the card anymore. I don't want to see guys fight. Like I said, I don't want to see the thing that happened in lightweight where you just have the same 4 or 5 guys fighting each other over and over and over again. I want to see them fight down the card and see the guys down the card fight up the card. I want to see Brendan Allen's fight Vettori. I want to see Imavov fight someone above him if he gets this win. I want to see Dolidze fight someone else, you know, because he lost to Vettori, which I don't even know that he lost to Vettori. I don't even think that was actually a loss, but I'd like to see Dolidze fight up the card. I'd like to see Dolidze fight someone. There's some interesting fights. I don't think Dolidze has the thing to go the whole way, but yeah. Cooper Marion says, I just wish he'd focus on his wrestling more. Great grappler, but seems too content to just hang around on the feet. Yeah, I think he got into the game late, like into grappling and MMA and that. He got into it very late. He was a professional soccer player. I think he was a goalkeeper, man. But I'm pretty sure he was a professional soccer player. Oliver Ekman says, did the Marvin and Allen fight happen already? No, it hasn't happened, but I believe it's going to happen. And that's an interesting fight because neither one of those guys hits that hard, but they both got good chins. So, yeah. And then I think Allen's got better jiu-jitsu, but Marvin's got better wrestling. I actually I like the names and the positions that are fighting each other, but I don't like the stylistic matchup of that fight. I don't like it. I think that more than likely that fight's going to make them both look bad. I just think stylistically it's not the best matchup for either one of those guys. That's my take on that. So yeah. And Cooper Marion, my hat goes off to you, mate. I do love a good bakery, but I have a big respect for bakers. I know that you guys work like 1 a.m. till whatever, or throughout the night. Anyways, it's one of those jobs when people talk about night shift and that people don't realize, like, bakers work night shift kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I imagine it would be a hard job, and be a hard job to not be fat if you like to keep your weight down, you know, because I know that if I worked as a baker, it'd be game over, dude. Even now, when I say the word baker, I think about pies and sausage rolls and that, and I feel like eating pies and sausage rolls. That's what happens to me when just with that. So if I had to work in and around it, I'd be 400 kilos, dude. I don't even know. So Imavov's making his way to the octagon. I'm actually pretty pumped. I'm bummed about the Khizriev fight. I'm really bummed about that Muradov versus Khizriev. I was looking forward to that fight a lot. And it was just interesting to see Khizriev in there against Muradov and see like the height difference, because that height difference is huge, man. And there's taller guys than Muradov in that division. So it's just an interesting, I don't know how. I think Khizriev has the tools and he has the skills. I just don't know that he's got the physicality. Like, he's definitely physical. He's thick, strong guy, obviously. But in MMA, where guys like an Israel's hitting you from across the octagon, basically. Imavov's tall, 6'3", 6'4" as well. 6'3", I think. You know, these are tall, big boys. Cooper Marion says, it is a hard job to stay thin. I just make it a rule that I'm maxed at one item a day. Oh, good for you, man. It'd be difficult, man. I wouldn't be able to do that necessarily. No, you'd have to do it, and I would have to do it that the item that I have is like, I'd just try and stretch that out to the end of the day or something, because otherwise, if you have it at the start, you know, it's better to be smart than strong. That's what another thing that I've learned. It's better to be smart than strong. So it's better for me to have processes in place other than just let my willpower try and do it, you know. Cooper Marion says, I work from 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's a rough shift. That is a very, very, very rough shift. That's a very difficult time to do, because that means you have to be up, I don't know, latest at 3:30 if you live near the place. If you don't live like right next to the place, you're going to be up at 3. You know what I mean? And so that's a big problem, you know, 3 a.m. and then you're not home till 1 p.m. It's a fucking rough shift, you know, and then you probably feel like crap when you get home. I don't know. How do you do it? How do you do it? Like, what do you do? Do you come home and sleep and then go out and do stuff and then go back to bed, or do you come back and sleep and just feel like, and then just sleep from 1 p.m. till, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something, and then go back out like and do your life and then go to work? How does that work? I'm actually very interested, because that's a very rough shift. That's one of the worst shifts I can think of. My friend who's passed away now, may rest in peace, was a train driver, and he used to do a equally shit shift. It was like 2 a.m. till 10 a.m. or something like this. Yeah, something like that, which is horrendous, because you're up at 1. You have to get up at 1 a.m. to be there by 2, to leave at 10, to be home by 11, you know? So I'm just interested how that works. Cooper Marion says, it's more all the desserts and fun stuff I make at home that get me fat. I see. Oliver Ekman says, I work from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. Yeah, that's bad. That's crappy. It is crappy because then you come home and you're like buzzed and you don't get to bed till at least midnight, 1 a.m. probably. But that is a bad shift, but it's not the worst. The worst is that 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. like that. Anything where you start when you start before 5 a.m., before 6 a.m. even, but before anything where you start before 5 a.m. is a big problem, man, because your body clock is just in another world. It's in la la land. And I've done all those shifts, man. I did that, like I said earlier. I used to do 1 a.m. till 10 a.m. shift, midnight till 9 a.m. shift. Like they're just horrible, man. Horrible. And I've done like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shifts and that, which are bad, but they're like night shift. You know what I mean? They're bad, but they're not as bad, I don't think, as that one that's like late morning. Oh, God. When I clock out to go to practice and come back, I stay till 1:30 or so. Cooper Marion says, loads of caffeine mostly, very little sleep, but I have I don't know what CPAP is, which helps with getting refreshed from less quantity, but I'm usually in bed around 8. I see. That's still pretty bad. Like, because 8, oh no, you get like 7 hours, I'd say. But you know what's bad with that as well is if you don't sleep, like let's say you're having an off night and you're kind of tossing and turning, like your body naturally starts to go to sleep at around 3, 4 a.m. anyways, because of your circadian rhythms and your yeah, man, my heart goes out to you, mate. I'll think of you. Oliver Ekman says, I'm not saying it's worse than what he's got. No. I'm not saying it's good, man. I'm just saying to you, the worst is that shift. It's horrible. Horrible. And we're about to start. And Dolidze is a big, strong dude, man. Fights at light heavyweight. Big, strong guy. But I think that, honestly, I think Imavov's probably starting to fix more and more and more the things that he does wrong or the things that he could do better. And yeah, he's getting there. Cooper Marion says, I've honestly done that shift and my baking shift at times, and I prefer the morning, honestly. That 2 to 10 just takes your whole day and no one wants to do anything after. Yeah. Yes, sir. Adam Yusuf says, I'm really sorry. My condolences to your friend. May you rest in peace. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, man. He's a good guy, mate. He was a good man, mate. He was one of the good ones. I'll tell you that for sure. He lived in Boulder, Colorado, actually. He did high school there. He was a massive monster of a man, big Samoan dude. Wrestled there and played football in the US, but he's from here. He's from Australia. He's like a second generation judoka, black belt. His dad's a black belt in judo. He's a black belt in judo. Wrestled at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado. Monster of a man, dude. Cooper Marion says CPAP is for sleep apnea. Basically forces air down your throat so you don't stay in hypoxia all night and you're extra oxygenated and rested. Oh, is that mask thing you're talking about? Is that what you're saying? Looking forward to this fight. I think Dolidze is going to want this takedown, though. He's going to throw a heavy leather, but he's going to want the takedown. They touch hands, and we're off, ladies and gentlemen. Nice little front kick by Imavov, 55, 54, 53, 51. Nice. The use of the front kick is really, really good against grapplers, man. Like, you want them away from you, and it doesn't have a lot of tell, and it's hard to deal with. Those leg kicks, I think, are always going to be a problem for Imavov, with his stance. But he's smart because he's kicking now, and when he's kicking, you have to kick with a kicker, and so it stops them from kicking the shit out of his legs, which is a big Achilles heel of his. Just because he stands in that very boxing stance. Nice front kick again by Imavov. But I think this is going to be a problem for him moving forward. Like any of the good kickers, he stands in such a boxing stance, such a bladed stance, that he's completely open for those leg kicks, those calf kicks. Dolidze muscles him up against the cage. He's got an underhook. He's got double underhooks. Imavov's trying to frame on Dolidze. Yeah, I've seen them, Cooper. They're very, very good. My mum uses it, actually. But so far, Dolidze is pushing his bum back against the cage, framing on the face of Dolidze. So he's doing a really good job here of defending this takedown. He needs to get up off the cage, though. Nice little elbow there by him. He needs to get his bum out. 5 rounds is a long time to fight like this. Imavov is a fair bit younger as well. Nice knee up the middle by Imavov. Nice. He turns. Dolidze is just trying to grapple him. Right hand over the top by Imavov. He attempts it. Again, the front kick from Imavov. Oh, big right hand by Dolidze and then an inside left kick. So Dolidze is dropping his level and throwing that overhand right. Nice front kick again by Imavov. Nice cuff, like not cuff, but a good leg, couple of good leg kicks. They trade him. This stance is going to be a problem moving forward. You've got a lot of good leg kickers in that division. Not a lot, but you got 3, 4 really good leg kickers in that division. Up the top there. Oh, right hand lands by Imavov. Front kick again by Imavov. Right hand over the top by Dolidze. Little jab lands by Dolidze. Imavov does a good job carrying up and then answers with the right hand of his own. Nice little oblique kick by Imavov. Oh, nice. He feints and lands a right hand on Dolidze. Dolidze eats big shots. And Imavov's going to finish Dolidze here, I think. Big elbows. Big elbows landing with 1 minute to go. Dolidze is in a lot of trouble. I think he is looking for a leg lock, but he's eating a lot of leather. He was looking for a kind of K guard. He's still looking for it, but he hasn't got the leg anymore. Imavov definitely wins this round. These leg locks of Dolidze's are a problem, but man, he'd be in La La Land right now. Imavov takes his back. He's sunk both hooks in. I think he's a little high. He needs to get double underhooks, does Imavov. Man, he's doing a fantastic job. 29 seconds to go. Dolidze is going to be in all sorts. He's landing so much shots here. Do not underestimate how much this would rock your head, getting shots like this landed on your head. He's doing a good job of controlling here is Imavov. Imavov looks like he's going to go for an armbar. He is. It's in deep. It's in very deep with 5 seconds to go. Definitely Imavov's round. Fuck, Dolidze doesn't know where he is, man. Man, Dolidze ate some shots, man. And I do think this is the fight, the way the fight should go. You know what I mean? Should go, like as in, like, I'm a big fan of Dolidze, but I do think that Imavov is the better of the two. And I want to see him fight upper card. And so what do you do now? You know, that right hand, and he landed 2 short left hands and dropped him. The grappling of Imavov has developed a lot. Sometimes his decision making isn't the best, but that will all come down to experience, I think. But that would have taken a lot out of Dolidze. I don't know how well he would have recovered. They touch hands 57, 56, 54, 55. I'm saying all sorts of numbers. I'm counting like my daughter. Sorry. Oblique kick by Imavov. Oh, left hook lands by Imavov. Calf kick by Dolidze. Dolidze goes looking for a left hook. Dolidze goes looking for a right and a left. Again, right and a left high kick. Hits nothing but air. Oh, little combination lands on Imavov by Dolidze. I don't know if Imavov may have punched himself out a little bit. He may have punched himself out a little bit. Because this is a bit of a problem for Imavov. I've noticed that he does tend to slow down a little bit with his output. Maybe he's just waiting for his positioning here, like waiting for a situation. But he does seem like he punched himself out a little bit. Easy to do too. Easy to do. There's a lot of good fighters, man. Pfeiffer's another one to look out for. And I like that he's fighting Hermanson, you know what I mean? That's a good test. It's a good part of the card to be fighting. Like I don't want to see the contenders kill each other off until they get in that top 5, 6, 7, you know? So Dolidze is holding Imavov up against the cage. Imavov's doing a good job of not letting Dolidze get the body lock takedown, but he needs to make that space. Dolidze is trying to get his hips behind him to be able to use the body lock. Imavov's defending it. 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the second round. Foot stomps, don't underestimate those. They hurt. He has to get his bum out. He has to do everything he can to get his bum out. Drop his shoulder a little bit and get his bum out. His right shoulder. Dolidze must be very, very strong, dude. Double underhooks now by Imavov. Imavov has the superior head positioning. Cooper Marion says, I think Pfeiffer is going to murder Hermanson. I tend to agree with that statement, sir. Oh, now Imavov's putting some volume and some pressure on Dolidze. And now he stopped again. Nice little jab by Imavov. Inside leg kicks, outside leg kick by Dolidze. Imavov goes looking for a 1-2, misses it. I don't know how much Imavov has slowed down. I don't know if he did punch himself out. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. This kind of fight that Dolidze does is absolutely grueling. And he's a big, strong guy holding you up against a cage like that. Rob McKenzie says, morning money bags, just got up from night shift. Hope you and the chat are all well. Man, I've been spending that money that you put in my account, man. I thank you so much for that, Rob McKenzie. I actually won a bet again against Cooper Marion. I won a bet again. So I'm very, very happy, mate. How are you, McKenzie? What time to what time was your night shift? So Dolidze's doing a good job. Like he can't stand at range and let Imavov just tee off on him with a jab. There's 23 seconds to go in this first round. The referee separates them. Around that, really, Dolidze is winning. Keeps looking for little right hand kind of lands Boy, oh, Imavov, oh, they exchange. They both land big right hands. Time. This is the thing you got to be careful with Dolidze. He's got heavy hands, dude. He's got heavy hands, and he just throws, he drops his level and throws that overhand right. And because you're defending that clinch and the takedown, you drop in your hands, but he definitely landed. Cooper Marion says, Rob, what's your shift? We've actually been talking about the worst shift to work tonight. Yeah, we've been interesting one. So, man, Imavov has definitely slowed down. I do think he punched himself out a little bit. And people don't understand. It's easy to do. And it takes a long time to acquire that experience to understand when you should go for the finish, when you're actually not landing them, when to grapple, when not to grapple. And I think Imavov kind of mixes those things up a little bit on the ground. Like I feel like probably didn't need to go and jump on the dude's back. I think he could have just kept dropping shots on him, try and get him out of there. But that's just me. UG says, can't lie, Dolidze and Imavov is just basically a big Corey Sandhagen and Peter Yan going at it. Yeah, but Corey Sandhagen's a lot bigger, a lot longer than Peter Yan. All right, we're off. There isn't that size discrepancy. Oh, another calf kick. Maybe the calf kicks are taking their toll as well on Imavov. I don't know. 53, 52, 51. Nice jab. This is what Imavov has to do. Just land these jabs. Boom, boom, boom. And the front kicks. Keep landing the front kicks so your foot's not there, because otherwise you're going to get the shit kicked out of your legs. And land the jabs. Imavov, Dolidze is going to do this. What he's doing is try and grapple him, hold him up against the cage. But this gets harder and harder and harder to do. As you can see, now Imavov's starting to work his way out of there. He needs to land the jabs. Dolidze, I'm pretty sure, trains a lot with Sean as well, who's fought Imavov. Imavov hits him with a nice kick up the middle from the back. I think if Imavov can keep the volume, he's going to finish him in this round. He just needs to land the jabs. He needs to land the jabs. Land the jabs, Imavov, for the love of God. Land the jabs. Jab, jab. I'd like to see him more busy with his jabs, He's just got to get busy. It's his fight to lose, really. Those front kicks are great. There, he's landed a little check hook on the way in, then lands a right hand. I think he's hurt Dolidze a little bit. He needs to separate. He's going to throw an elbow. Here is Imavov. Imavov needs to get his bum away from the cage. There's 3 minutes to go. Dolidze is eating shots. He's very durable. He's very, very durable, is Dolidze, but he can't take too many more of these shots. Because those right hands, they're landing. Front kick down the middle is landing. Those calf kicks are landing from Dolidze. Another front kick. Oh, big right hand. Dolidze pushes him up against the cage. Again. The problem is here for a young guy like Imavov, really. I think it's one of those fights he had to make a bit of a statement against Dolidze. And I thought he would finish him in this round, but he's not looking that good, to be honest with me. And I'm a big fan of Imavov. Now, partly, sometimes it is the matchup that you have. But he has to try and get him out of there. He needs to make some space and get out. And he needs to get him out of there to make a statement, to really be able to say, fuck, man, put me in, coach. Because from a fan's perspective, you got to think who does he what does this, if he can't get this guy out of there reasonably quickly now in this round at least, like who's next for him, you know? Nice little right hand. Dolidze is getting hit, dude. Dolidze is getting fucking hit, but then he pushes Imavov up against the cage. 1 minute to go. Break out of there, Imavov. Break out of there. Man, the shots that this guy's taken, that Dolidze has taken is... I know Imavov doesn't have the most power in his shots. Like, he's not a massive puncher, but he's taken like a lot of right hands, a few little check hooks, and he's taken like front kicks to the body, and the exertion of trying to wrestle someone is hard. 23 seconds to go. Oh, big punches by Dolidze. Imavov has to land shots. The volume is just not there from Imavov. Oh, spinning back kick by Dolidze. Now, I do have Imavov winning this fight at this stage. I'm not judging the fight. I'm just watching it. Boom. Fuck, this guy's head's made of concrete. Because he's landing, like Imavov's landing clean shots. He gets him like right down the pipe with the right hand. But like, he's just not looking good doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, to really make a statement, I think he would have need to have finished him reasonably early. 12 p.m. till 12 a.m. Rob McKenzie's a rough. 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. rather is a very rough shift. I don't envy you at all. Yuji says, yeah, FR seems like he's lacking a lot. Emilio says, do you know where Imavov trains out of? Out of the Fight Factory in France with where Cyril Garni and that train. Oblique kicks by Imavov. I think he does need... Oh, big right hand by Dolidze. I think he definitely needs a finish, though, to put a fucking stamp on this. Oh, nice left hook. Nice left hook. Calf kick. They're exchanging in the middle now. In the fourth round. Again, Dolidze with the double underhooks pushes him up against the cage. 4 minutes and 37 seconds to go. Oh, he left MMA Factory a few months ago. Okay, I did not know that. Let's see, where is he training then? The last I heard of that's where he was, but does he train with his own like group or something? Does he have his own little team? Yeah, that shift, Rob, is horrible. It does not seem like a good one. This clinch fighting looks awful. It's very, very tiring. Now he's put his hand on the ground so he doesn't get kicked in the face. He kicked him in the face anyways. Fuck. I just finished saying it. I just finished saying it. I just finished fucking saying it. And that's a big problem. Like, I do think he makes like these kind of fucking dumbass decisions and that in fights. And I think he has trouble controlling his emotions, which is going to stop the growth, obviously. I don't know if the ref says he's safe, don't kick him. It'd probably do well to like have the ref say that, because it's a technicality and sometimes the guy can't see it in the heat of the moment. Like it looks like he can because we can, but he had the whole guy's whole body between him, so it's hard to say, you know what I mean? Like he may not have been able to see it. Hey baby, how are you? Just saying hello to my daughter. Yeah, so he's got some injury time. Dude, that kick was fucking flush. Yeah. Imavov to me is a guy that's got all the potential in the world, but there's a few things that he kind of lacks, you know what I mean? Yeah, but see here, the ref there should say something, because the Imavov can't see to the other side. Do you get what I mean? He can't see. His head is like, we can see it clearly, and it's like, what are you doing? Because I just said that, you know what I mean? But then you look at it and he can't see it. So I think it's like the ref there has to say something. Dolidze is throwing bombs. Oh, hits right hand, big right hand on Imavov. He drops down for a double leg. Oh, he's going to be looking for a leg lock here. He's in. He's in pretty good. Great work. Wow. Fucking wow. Good for you. And he can go to saddle from here. He can go to saddle quite easily. Like a version of saddle, not actual saddle, actually. Sorry, I thought he was in a different position. He could jump onto the other side to saddle. Wow. Giggs, I don't know if he took a point from him or not. I don't know. Wow. Good job by Dolidze. If he did lose a point, dude, he could lose this fight. He could lose this fight. And that's what I mean with Imavov, man. I think he's got all the tools to possibly be champion. He did take a point. Well, if he took a point, he could probably lose this fight, dude. And like he's got all the talent and the abilities and everything, but just like not the decision making from that position, because I felt that was a bit like you got to understand, like the ref should be telling you don't kick him, and maybe he was and he kicked him anyways. I don't fucking know. But again, if you got a French dude and a Georgian dude, you'd probably want someone in there that can say don't kick him, because he wouldn't be able to see like that real quick that the guy put his hand down on the far side of him necessarily. 1 minute and 25 seconds to go. Yeah, with the point taken, dude, I don't know who wins this fight now. I have no fucking idea, because I don't know how you score this round. Like, you know what I mean? If you're already scoring at 10-9 for Dolidze, then it's 10-8. I don't know. You know what I mean? He's 1 minute to go. I think he has. Oh, they're both nice. The front kick down the middle is great for Imavov. But then there's not enough volume, man. There's not enough volume from him. He's got to jab him, you know, because he keeps letting him back in the fight. Dolidze switches to southpaw. Oh, spinning back fist from Dolidze. Spinning little elbow. Misses, does Imavov. Imavov takes the back. There's 24 seconds to go. Yeah, I don't know why Imavov's doing this, man. I don't know. I don't know why he clinched with him. Giggs says, do you consider the first a 10-8 for Imavov? Probably. I don't know, man. I can't, because I'm not judging the fight. I can't say. Doesn't feel like a 10-8 necessarily for me, but he did drop him and he did hurt him. So it could be a 10-8. I don't know. I don't know how they judge that fight, you know, because it was close up until then as well. It wasn't like he was beating the fuck out of him, you know, and then he didn't get him out of there. Like he didn't really come close to getting him out of there. He actually survived it. It was definitely like the first goes to Dolidze. Put it this way: first goes to Imavov. Second probably went to Dolidze. Third, I'd say Imavov. Fourth, it's either like it has to be to Dolidze, and or a draw. And so now the fifth, who knows? It went, and that's the thing with Imavov, man. Imavov is winning a fight, and he goes from winning a fight or looking really good to just being in this position. Rob McKenzie, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate your support. Guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel and please share it with your friends. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much for your support, boys. So this is the fifth round. Oh, he dropped him with a stiff little left hand then. And he's looking for little sweep is Dolidze. I do think he needs to be more active, does Imavov, because he does let Dolidze back in the fight. Like, he's a mean dude. Don't get me wrong. He's got a hand speed and he's crisp with his punches and that. But this, man, can't happen. I suppose Dolidze does make people look bad. You know what I mean? He does make people look bad in just the way that he fights, you know, and he's a very strong guy. And this is a small octagon. But I think Imavov more than like this performance is not going to get him like further up the card against one of the contenders. You know what I mean? If he wins this, he might not win this. Oh, the Kimura. He's looking for the Kimura. He's got it. He's got the Kimura trap here. Oh, lucky for Imavov. Lucky for Imavov. And again, he's going to go looking for the foot lock. His knees out. His knees out. He's doing a good job of controlling the foot. His leg, his knees out. And again, he goes looking for it. Big elbow lands by Imavov. That hurt Dolidze, man. Don't clinch with him, Imavov. Don't clinch with him, man. Fuck. He hurt him, man. Like, he hurt him with that big elbow. He's making Dolidze look better than what he is. Like, Dolidze is good and everything, but he hurt him, man. He hurt him in that exchange. Like, he's a frustrating guy to watch, is young Imavov. Cooper Marion says Imavov and Cyril Gane have some baffling fight IQ for how technical and smart they can be. Yeah, no, it is like a paradox. You know what I mean? I don't really understand it. The other thing with this is like Cyril is, I think at least Cyril, he's got that, he does have enough shots to knock you out. Whereas this guy, he doesn't have enough on his shots necessarily to put you out the way that Cyril can. And so it makes it he should sit behind his jab more, man. Like, just touching him. Rob McKenzie says, just listen to Coach Fab and you would be UFC champ in no time. Nice right hand. I don't know if he'll be UFC champ, but I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if I don't know that it's bad coaching at all. Like, it might not be. He might just be the way that he is, man, and people not think. Gig says both him and Cyril are not mean enough. No, I don't think it's that, man. I just think it's like some decisions that they make in the fight. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't get certain situations, like why he's clinching with him when he's got him hurt. Like, I don't get it, you know? Like, fuck, Dolidze, he's hurt Dolidze a lot in this fight. You know, like he's hurt him. Don't clinch with him now. Just spread out and just land some shots, man. Land 44 seconds to go. Like here, I wouldn't be trying to tap Dolidze. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. This is not what I'd say to you to do. I'd say get up, land some shots, man. Like he's not gonna just stand up, land shots, land shots, land shots, land shots, land shots, dude. Land big shots. And get up, make him fight. Get up, make him fight. There's 12 seconds to go. 7 seconds to go. Land some good little combination there, landed by Imavov. Time. Mate, what a frustrating fucking performance. Cooper Marin says Cyril has a starkest contrast between his normal clean striking and the Donkey Kong mode the second he gets someone hurt. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really shocked at it. Like the way that first round went is how I thought the fight would go. And yeah, Dolidze is tough. Don't get me wrong. Dolidze is tough. And Dolidze is one of those guys that makes the fight look ugly. Do you know what I mean? He makes a fight look ugly and he makes you look bad. And that's a compliment. I'm not saying it, in a bad way. But not like that was his fight to win. Like now, in fairness to Imavov, Trevor Giles beat Dolidze by decision, and that was back in 2021. And every other, John Allen had a split decision loss to him. Then Staropoli has decision loss to him. Kyle Dacus has KO. Then Phil Hawes got KO. Then Jack Hermanson got KO. So he's been on a run. Then he lost what I would believe to be a controversial decision to Marvin Vettori. So you could say, he's pretty much like, and that was at light heavyweight, by the way, those other fights, Trevor Giles, John Allen, and Kadis Ibragimov. So at middleweight, man, he's done really well. Not the Trevor Giles fight, that was a middleweight. But Imavov is one of those guys got the skills that he could beat anyone. But then I really don't know how this fight has gone. I think he's done enough. Like he definitely won, I'd say won 3 out of the 2 rounds. But I don't know how that whatever round that was, the 3rd or the 4th, that he got the point deducted. I don't know if that was, I can't remember the fight, to be honest. I can't remember if that would be a 9-9 or a 10-8. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how it's been scored. And so it could be a draw. Or it could be it's going to be one of those shitty fucking decisions. Or it could be a win to Imavov. Man, that was frustrating. Because I don't know what that does for him now. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know even a win for him, what it does for him. Because Dolidze was number 8. He definitely won the fight. I don't know what that does, though, other than push him up the rankings a bit. You know what I mean? He was number 11, and this is kind of going to get him to that number 8 position. And I don't know, like, it's not enough to go, fuck. Like, if he had iced him, he could have come out and called out somebody, somebody big. And he might still do it, but it doesn't have the same bang for the buck, which is sad because he does have the talent, He does have the talent to do it. He just has to fix a few things, man. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And I don't know, like, what he's doing in as far as training, like, not just who he's training with, but, like, is he running his own race? Is he got coaches that are going to tell him what to do? Like, Cooper Marion says, just forgets all technical knowledge instantly. It's fucking weird, man. Emilio says he should have finished him in the first. Yeah, or just bashed him in the second and third. I thought he was going to get him out of there in the third. Like, I just thought that, but there wasn't enough volume, man. Oliver Ekman says, love you, Fab. Right back at you, Oliver. Cooper Marion says, feel like Imavov has some of that Michael Johnson where he has to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. That's honestly how I feel about him as well. Cooper Marion says, I kind of expected him to do good, but just not do enough. UG says, good fight. I just felt, it was extremely frustrating fight if you're an Imavov fan. He landed some big shots. Like, he could beat anyone, don't get me wrong. And Dolidze says no joke. Like, he's just a guy that makes it fucking awful to fight him. He's just like an awkward kind of guy. You can't, like, I'll say this as well. Dolidze gets people on the ground like this, like he can be a real handful for anyone in that division. And he's got power in his shots, that can make things difficult for you. So allow for that. Allow for the fact there's a couple of guys in that division that are just awkward, like a handful for people. You know what I mean? They make you look bad even if you beat them. And I think Dolidze is absolutely one of those guys because he doesn't mind pulling guard, and that elongates a fight, and then you have to get away from him, etc. Cooper Marion says Ferdinand Lopez may be just a bad game planner, but like we said earlier, he's not with Lopez anymore apparently, so you can't really blame Lopez for that. No, because he's won more fights with Lopez than lost them. You know what I mean? Like, you can't blame Lopez for it. I just think there's something like endemic to him, you know what I mean, that needs to be addressed. Like, he really like cracked the dude like a bunch of times. Should have got him out of there. Cooper Marion says, seems like Cyril, Imavov, and Francis, while they don't really play to their strengths when they could be shutting people out. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Imavov, just staying on Imavov because I don't want to mix people up, but just staying on Imavov, I feel like could have done a bunch of stuff differently there. Do you know what I mean? I think he could have done a lot of things different. I don't think there was enough volume. I thought he was going to sit behind the jab, and if he sat behind the jab and that front kick, it would have got him out of there. He would have just busted him up. UG says, Fab, what are your thoughts on Peter Yan being on the prelims? Yeah, I don't know, because I think Peter Yan is a fantastic, fantastic fighter, and I've always liked watching him. I feel that there was, even that fight with Sean, I didn't think Sean won it. I thought it was 3-2 or whatever it was to Peter, or 2-1 or whatever. I can't remember now anymore. I don't think it was a robbery or anything like that. I just feel like he's just been a little bit unlucky, and that happens in this game, unfortunately. Rob McKenzie says, where's Frankie? He's gone home, man. He's gone home. We looked after him for a week or so. UG says, with song. I don't know what that means. Oh, sorry. Now I understand. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. Because isn't that, what event is that for? Is that for a really big event though? Is that for 300? I'm not sure. So it might be a little bit different. But in general, I don't think he's just been a little bit unlucky, not anyone's fault. I feel this one, he could have had an opportunity to jump a few people, you know what I mean, and really gone for one of the big dogs in the division. But I think that now he's kind of like been stuck now there because of that result. But good on him for getting the win. Dolidze says no joke. And then there's going to be Hermanson versus Pfeiffer is going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, but it's a big card, you know what I mean? So I understand that as well. I think Pfeiffer versus Hermanson is interesting. And I say that, right, because it's kind of the same situation, right? So Hermanson is ranked, what's he ranked? He's ranked number 10 in the rankings. There's a couple of guys, right? Hermanson, who I've always been a fan of, actually. I've always liked Hermanson. But Hermanson lost to Dolidze in 22, right? So it's been a year and a half since he's fought, right? So it's a long time since he's fought, and he's number 10. And you have Costa as well, who's barely fought, and he's like in the top 7 or whatever it is. So this is going to be interesting, because if Pyfer can get this guy out of there, it's going to be interesting, because I don't know that you need to necessarily put Pyfer versus Imavov. I don't want to see that fight. I'd want to see both of them fight up the card, But if Pyfer goes out there and he fucking stones Hermanson, he could and he should be calling out guys up the card more, for sure. For sure. I don't want to see these contenders knock each other off the thing. Yeah, Vera versus Sean. Yeah, but on those big cards, a lot of times when you open the prelims, you close off the prelims or something like that, you get that there's a lot of views for that as well. So yeah, but more than anything for Peter Yan's career, I think he's just been unlucky with a couple of decisions in that. Yeah, middleweight is looking interesting, says SG. Yeah, no, I definitely think that, because they invested in middleweight a few years ago, when it wasn't looking as good. And so yeah, now it's very, very interesting. I think if Pyfer can smoke Hermanson, it's going to be very, very interesting. I don't think Vera beats Sean. I don't think so. Arujo versus Silva's fight of the night. Absolutely fight of the night. Actually, I honestly think it was. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. Guys, thank you so much, and I will see you all soon. Take care.